tease the news, and you're just going to have to hang around and listen. That's what happens. He's good. He's a professional. We've got Jackson here. Jackson has a haircut.
Yes, sir. Look at him.
I mean,
Woo!
a respectable young man now.
Yeah, I got rid of the long hair.
Yes. What's funny is you got rid of the long hair, and it's still long.
It's not long.
I mean, comparatively. I mean, look at Ken. Look at me. Look at you.
Yeah, but I'm old.
Well, same. So the gang's all here, and we're going to have fun today. I appreciate you letting me join you on a 4-hour journey. The Super Talk text line is open and exciting, 615-737-9986. Whenever Jackson feels like talking to you, he can open the lines and, just call in. Whisper sweet nothings to him, and then he'll write something, and then I get to press a button, and who knows what we're going to get. I mean, it can get wild. So I'm here for you. I wanted to start the show with something a little fun. Let me do the basics and then get that out of the way, and then we'll do some fun stuff. First, before I start any show as a fill-in host for you guys, I want you to know where I'm coming from, because I always hate it when there's talking heads and pundits. They have different interests and stuff like that. And they don't tell you, right? I'll tell you what I do. I am on the editorial board of the Tennessean. I am a Gannett Network columnist. I write columns. That's part of why Matt and I do All the Best Words, which is a podcast here. You need to go check it out. We got some fun stuff coming through, a little bit shorter form. Shake it up. Keep it interesting for you guys. My day job is at Thanks, where we help folks grow business with gratitude. Fantastic crew over there in Franklin who allows me to occasionally come in and help out. So that's awesome. And I do other fun stuff. Make AI bands. I am a partner in a media company. We've made movies, The Ballad of Davy Crockett. All of these things shape my viewpoints. I'm a lawyer by trade who's worked on Capitol Hill, ran the House Republican Policy Committee, worked on Senate Judiciary Committee. So I have a little bit of experience with the swamp, and I now try to avoid it religiously. So there you go. I was talking to Jackson a little bit before the show about lingo, the slang. I'm the father of 5 boys, 4 of whom are teenagers, and they use words that I do not recognize, but I have now learned because they're in my home. And I'm going to try some of these out. And, Ken, you can feel free to chime in. I think Jackson knows some of them because Jackson is cool. But on the Super Talk text line, feel free to let me know what these are. So we're going to do some generational slang real quick to warm up the show. Then we'll get into the shutdown. Let me tell you, super exciting. No, the government not happening. We're still going to pay for it. There you go. We'll get to it. We're also going to talk about the Bill of Rights. We're going to do a little civics. It's going to be fun. And you guys can tell me why it's outdated and doesn't need to be around, or you can tell me why it's awesome and we need to start taking it seriously. So with the lingo, Riz. All right, Ken, what's Riz?
Cool?
Kinda. It is short for charisma.
Oh, okay.
It is shorthand for someone's ability to effortlessly charm or attract others. My boys say things like the Wizard of Oz, a Riz Lord, which I also is a I don't that sounds weird. How about no cap? Does that one ring a bell?
No, I don't know that one.
Okay, no cap means no lie, or seriously.
No cap?
No cap. And then occasionally no cap is followed by a sheesh. And I don't know what the extra sound does, but it's that's another one. Okay, we're going to try a few more of these. Bussin'.
I do. I've heard that. That was that's from my day. Back in the late 80s and early 90s.
No, this isn't ride a bus. So, what do you think it means?
Well, that was back in the 70s.
Okay.
Bussin'.
Bussin'.
Bussin'. I don't know.
Extremely good, delicious, or awesome. Like those chicken fingers are bussin'.
Yeah.
I don't know the correlation that involves a bus,
I don't.
but that's what they say. Mid's pretty easy. You know, that mid is, well, that's average. It's like, that's kind of mid. Like sometimes they use it to describe, you know, the way people look. Like, oh, yeah, it's kind of mid, you know. Ham says, no cap should mean all you can eat. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I get
that's
that.
right. I agree.
One that I hear all the time is bet. All the time. Do you know what this means, Ken?
No.
Bet.
Ken, yes, you do.
Bet?
Yeah, I've said it to you a lot.
Like, you want to make a bet?
No, it's
Nope.
just like, okay.
Yes, it is okay, yes, or for sure. So,
Man,
hey,
I'm out of it.
do you want to go grab lunch together? Bet. That's
It's kind of like you can bet on it.
yeah, kind of, but it's like we've shortened everything.
I was getting ready to say, I would reply, well, I don't gamble.
Okay. 8969 says, I tell my kids they must refer to me as the Rizzler if they're asking for something extra.
I'm going to try that.
Keith says, no cap is government spending your money. Amen. That is, no truer words have been spoken.
Yes, sir.
And the one I have heard increasingly lately, vibe check.
Oh, I like that. A vibe check.
Yeah. Yeah, you can guess this, Ken. Try to guess this one.
Okay.
A vibe check.
What's the temperature in the room?
Yeah, it is a request of somebody's sort of emotional state or kind of the mood of the situation.
Yeah.
Right. 4460 said, well, bet is yes. Is that because okay is too long? Like, seems unnecessary. So, oh no, I'm not falling for it. 6363 said, but what is 6'7"? Okay. I had no idea. This is a thing going around based on a meme.
I've seen that too.
And they're like, it is literally kids trying to get people to say 6'7". Like, how tall are you? 6'7". Like, and that's it. That's the thing. There is no.
You know where it comes from?
Somebody sent me a video explaining it.
It's LaMelo Ball.
Yes.
You know who that is?
Yes, that's the explainer I got that explained that. You explain what it means.
So LaMelo Ball was asked how tall he was, I believe, and he just said it in a funny way. He's like 6'7".
Yes. Yeah, it was kind of that question-y sort of statement. And it's sort of like ish, right? Like, might be 6'5", maybe 6'7", that kind of thing. And that is all over the place. And I don't understand. Like, I just don't, because no one understands, but it's just continuing to go. So what was interesting about this, okay, was I then realized that when I was a teenager, we have words that are no longer in use. 6369 said the millennial K, just K, is shorter than bet. And that's, oh, you guys are bringing up some good phrases that I had forgotten. And I will list those, so keep them coming. But I realized that these are generational, right? So I had heard my dad say things that I didn't quite get, but his was like 1950s and 60s slang, and then I had my own. And so I just assumed these things. I just thought my dad was weird when I was a kid, and he would ask me if I wanted a knuckle sandwich. And I'm like, what are you? I mean, I know it means like punch me in the face, but like, I don't, do people actually? And the answer is no. At the time I was a kid, they really didn't say it that much. But when my dad was a kid, it was like all the time. And so the ones from 2000 and sort of the 90s, I'll pull up some of these for you guys. Fat with a PH.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, pretty, hot, and tempting. It's an acronym, guys. Like, this was big 90s stuff. As you well know, radical or rad was like, this is really great. A couple of y'all said, you dig. That was
Yeah.
like, you get it?
Yes, sir.
The da bomb. Like, these tacos are da bomb. No one says da bomb anymore.
No.
Like, particularly not post 9/11. No da bomb. We don't like da bomb. But it was there. The one I haven't heard in a while that I used to hear all the time was all that in a bag of chips. Like, this thing is really great, right? It is all that, and that car is all that and a bag of chips.
Yes, sir. I remember that one.
And I don't know why, like, it didn't describe the bag of chips. It was just like, it's good, and then you get additional chips, and we knew what that meant. The one from the movie Clueless. Anybody know which one that is? There was one cultural phrase that came out of that movie that just hung around for years.
Oh, man, I should know this. I like that movie.
It's two. I'll give you a hint. It's 2 words.
I can't remember.
As if.
As if.
It is like, as if.
As if.
And I'm okay. It's great. And then the one that my brothers and I used all the time. Kat got it. She got as if. She knew it right away. Psych. My brothers and I would use psych. We would like lie, and then just before we were going to get caught, we would say psych.
Psych.
Which meant, oh yeah, we're just lying.
We're just joking.
We're joking. It's a joke. It's a joke. And so we would say something, see if we could get away for it. And then my dad's face would change, and I would just say, psych, psych. Just kidding, Dad. You know that's not what I meant to say. So, okay, y'all brought up one I have not heard in a long, long time. Fetch from Mean Girls, meaning attractive. My dad used to say 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, which means it doesn't matter.
Right.
But that's a very long way of saying that. Rooster wants to know if you know cattywampus.
I've heard that, but no.
So I know that one. It's not sitting straight.
Sitting on cattywampus.
Yes, that's what that one means. So this made me think, like, man, my dad, when he was a teen, like late 50s, 60s, he must have had his own words, and I want to see if I knew them. So you got to tell me, Ken, if these are actually things that you recognize. A gas. Like, that dance was a gas.
Yeah.
How old do you think Ken is?
That's a little before my time.
No,
but yes.
no, but Ken is old enough that he could remember the people who said the thing.
Oh, yeah. What a gas.
Right. Daddy-O.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I've seen that in movies, but that's like your buddy. What's up, Daddy-O?
Yo, Daddy-O.
Squaresville.
Yes.
Like, uncool. You were in Squaresville. The ones that I have heard, because my dad said them all the time, are cruising for a bruising.
Yes, sir.
Peepers. Got to get some shut eye for my peepers. I mean, you could just say eyes, but whatever. Knuckle sandwich.
Knuckle sandwich,
and
definitely.
the one that I know what it is, but I have not heard in years is cut the mustard. He just doesn't cut the mustard.
Yes.
Meaning he's not good enough. So
there's also cut the cheese, but let's not get into that.
Hey, cut the cheese, man. That's all I do with teenage boys. That's good grief. My house smells like a box of farts. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the stuff that y'all are here for. The shutdown, the congressional races, all the exciting things. Kilmore Abrego Garcia.
Oh,
we got some things there. This is the Matt Murphy Show. I'm Cameron Smith, and you're listening to Super Talk 99.7.
You know what, Jackson? Sometimes we play a game called The Last Thing That Matt Heard Before We Came Out of Break or before we go into break. And the last thing that I heard in my ear before I was here to talk to you about Volunteer Outfitters was Jackson telling me, you need to get up to Volunteer Outfitters and get yourself a better shirt. I probably do. I bought a few shirts at Volunteer Outfitters. Good looking, too. I'm telling you, they got some great gear for the gang, the entire family at Volunteer Outfitters. Located on New Shackle Island Road, just north of all those high Nashville prices, friends, in Hendersonville, right? You get on Vietnam Veterans Parkway, get off on New Shackle Island Road, take a left, and you'll see them down on the left. When you get there, you'll see the beautiful store. They got a great facility. They got footwear. They've got gear for you for all shapes and sizes of folks. They've got men and ladies items, and they normally they use a seasonal approach. So you got fall coming up. That means bird hunting season. So they're going to have a lot of bird stuff out there. They still have a few of their summer items still in stock and on the showroom floor. They got a lot of game gear going on right now. So your favorite team is probably represented at Volunteer Outfitters. If they can get it, they have it. Not just for Volunteer fans. I think Tommy told me that his Bama gear was 30% off because the Bama fans, they don't have a lot of money. I think that's what he said. So ask him if that's what he said. I think what he said was, Bama fans, they don't have a lot of money, so I'm going to give them 30% off the gear. But I believe that was the case at least a month and a half ago. So ask Tommy and the team about that when you head up to Volunteer Outfitters, located in Hendersonville. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Volunteer Outfitters.
A memo indicates the Trump administration is escalating its stance on cartels. This story and more coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Welcome back. I'm Cameron Smith, filling in for Matt. A couple things. My wife texted me and said, you forgot Teddy Roosevelt. And gas and buns. Gas is good. Buns is bad.
That's buns, man.
Yeah, totally buns. I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks, guys. A couple things on the Super Talk text line. I'll read the ones that y'all sent that are appropriate.
Yeah.
I just don't like the way he parts his hair. Give it all the beans. Knee high to a grasshopper.
Yep.
No bananas. Beauty sleep. Dope.
Yeah, dope.
It's dope, man. Let's see. Tighter than Dick's hat band. That's a very old one. Let's see. And groovy.
Groovy, baby.
Groovy, baby. Like, especially after Austin Powers 2, it made a huge comeback.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2.
It did.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell, when he gets his brand new arm and shotgun, he goes, groovy.
Yeah, he did. That's a very good one. I do want to jump on one of the questions you asked there. Somebody, 3160, asked a pretty serious question that I thought was fair. He said, Chris sort of contradicted your statement about the Dems and the shutdown. Can you weigh in on that? I don't know exactly what Chris said because I did not hear Chris's show this morning. But I know the sort of talking points that are out there right now, sort of from both sides. You know, Democrats are saying, no, this is about health care for Americans. You know, we don't want any, funding for illegal immigrants. Republicans are saying Democrats want to shut down the government because they want funding for illegal immigrants. If you followed sort of the traffic on this issue recently, I can tell you kind of what's going on. During COVID, the federal government expanded subsidies under the Affordable Care Act for insurance premiums, and they are set to expire. And that's what the Democrats want to get a continuation. And I don't think they expire for another couple months or something, but they want to make those permanent, and it'll cost hundreds of billions of dollars. The other thing that Democrats want on this one is they want to get back the categories of people eligible for the subsidies that were taken out under the big, beautiful bill. Those are folks like asylum seekers, folks with student visas. There are a couple other categories. These are people who are immigrants with legal status, okay? That, by definition, means they're not illegal in the sense that they are not here without any status. The other argument that's being made is, well, some of this money that they want is going to go to hospitals that offer emergency care, and that emergency care will go to illegal immigrants. That's true, but I don't know that I would say, if that's the case, any hospital funding for anybody that treats anyone in an emergency room that happens to be here without any status, well, anybody doing that is wanting health care to go to illegals. And so that's like I think, a stretch. So hopefully that helps. We got to take a break. When we come back, I'll explain a little bit more on that. We'll get into some Bill of Rights things, some shutdown things, and have a little fun. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. The Trump administration escalating its stance on drug cartels, now declaring the U.S. is in an armed conflict with them. A memo sent to Congress calls it a non-international armed conflict. It labels cartel members as unlawful combatants. Pentagon officials briefed lawmakers on the shift, but couldn't name which cartels or terrorist groups are involved. A lack of clarity left some members of Congress frustrated, demanding answers. Right now in Nashville, a man is charged for attacking an elderly woman downtown. 70-year-old woman knocked unconscious in an unprovoked attack near Commerce and 4th Avenue around 11 o'clock last night. Police say 35-year-old Pablo Arias kicked the woman in the chest and was later found stumbling nearby. He was arrested and charged. The victim hospitalized, her condition not known at this time. No resolution to the government shutdown. We get more from ABC's Jay O'Brien, who says Republicans don't seem interested in negotiating.
It's really unclear what the path could be. Again, Democrats are holding firm, and the White House has been clear they don't want to negotiate while the government is actively shut down. So if both those sides stick to their guns on that, there's really not a path for a compromise. But the longer this drags out, the more the impacts get worse and worse, and the more pressure could be raised on Democrats.
So today, lawmakers are not in session due to the Jewish holiday Yom Kippur. Tomorrow, more votes are expected on the budget bill that has already failed in the Senate. Money news, a new study from Goldman Sachs claims more Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and retirement is slipping further away. The report, which surveyed about 3,600 workers and 1,500 retirees, found that 42% of younger Americans, including Gen Z, Millennials, and Gen X, say they have no money left after covering basic expenses. And among those struggling, nearly three-quarters say saving for retirement feels out of reach. Back in 1997, just 31% of U.S. workers were in this position. Today, that number could rise to more than half of all Americans by 2033 as the costs of essentials like housing and health care continues to surge. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, that brake tapping is building northbound 65. You're coming to a complete stop before you get to the South Loop. And then same goes for eastbound South Loop to 65, eastbound East Loop. And then if you're eastbound 40 to go northbound on the North Loop. Now, crashes aren't helping. We've got one blocking the right lane of 440 westbound near West End. And in South Nashville, 24 westbound after Murfreesboro Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Folks, Matt Murphy for Cover Nash. Let's talk for a moment about your health insurance. I know, wait, don't go anywhere. Get back over here. Get back to your radio. Let's talk. Because Shane Ring can save you money, or Shane Ring can get you the coverage that you deserve, or most often, both, right? Most people, if you have health insurance, you don't think about whether or not you're overspending. If you have health insurance, you don't really recognize where you might have some gaps in your coverage. Shane Ring is here to go over your insurance plan comprehensively to make sure that you're getting the most for your money and to make sure that you're covered in the unlikely and unfortunate event that you would need something like a hospital stay or surgery, for example. He can help you out with a PPO plan that's nationwide. You go to any doctor anywhere in the United States of America, and it's only a $250 deductible and flat copays after the deductible. It's possible with Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Shane is your go-to concierge for all things health insurance. And remember, Shane works for you. He does not work for any insurance company whatsoever. He shops the entire marketplace for you and finds the right plan for you. You can meet him in Brentwood or talk to him on the phone, 615-465-0023, 465-0023, or online, covernash.com.
All right, welcome back. Cameron Smith. Matt's taking a couple days off. I appreciated y'all joining me yesterday, today, and being tomorrow. I got a treat for you guys tomorrow. In the 4 o'clock hour, Takuma Roback is going to join me. He is the new opinion editor for the Tennessean. Matt had hosted David Platzis, and other folks had talked to David over the years, and Takuma is David's replacement and a great dude. I've enjoyed working with him and sparring with him on ideas, and he is not shying away from the Super Doc family, and I would love to have you guys here, and I'd love y'all to ask some questions. So that'll be in the 4 o'clock hour tomorrow. Wanted to finish up the conversation about what Democrats want, what Republicans want in this whole shutdown thing. No, it is not the case that we are going to spend, that Democrats want to spend hundreds of billions on illegal immigrant health care directly through the federal funding. I mean, we're talking technicalities. We're playing semantic games and splitting hairs here. States like New York, California, D.C.'s not a state, but D.C., there's a couple of others that do have pretty robust social safety nets and benefits for illegal immigrants on the state level. J.D. Vance has made a very, and by the way, I see y'all on the Super Talk text line, 615-737-9986. Y'all are cracking me up with all of the slang from all of the generations, and I'll definitely read some more of those in a second. But J.D. Vance has said, well, money's fungible. He's right. That if, let's say, the spending goes to the state of New York, those hospitals are providing services to American citizens and folks with legal status, then that frees up money. These subsidies free up money for the state to use state funds to pay for health care for illegal immigrants. To me, that's just kind of like, he's absolutely right, but that's an argument that anytime the federal government gives any money to states that have sanctuary policies, they are basically, the federal government is funding illegal immigration. That's not directly true, but he is right about something, and I think this is the bigger point. In the big, beautiful bill, Republicans cut out these COVID-era subsidies for categories like immigrants with student visas, refuge seekers, asylee folks that have legal status but are immigrants, because it doesn't really make any sense to me that we would want to subsidize health insurance for folks who are here temporarily. That doesn't seem like a very good policy. So the Republicans did that, and now Democrats want to undo that. So the idea here is it's perfectly reasonable to say you don't want to fund healthcare subsidies for temporary immigrants. Whether they're illegal or not is immaterial. You certainly don't want to fund it for illegal immigrants because they're not breaking the law. But even the ones that are following the law who are here temporarily, it's eminently reasonable to say, no, I'm not going to fund healthcare for you. And the bigger idea that I think Vance is onto, but he kind of didn't say it, is just don't provide federal funds for states that thwart federal law. If you are a state that says, I'm going to undermine federal law, then why would we give you any money? And we should leverage that money to get them to get their policies right. That makes a lot of sense. So just wanted you guys to kind of understand what I was saying, probably what Chris was saying. I mean, we're playing these weird word games here, but the bottom line is the Democrats want more spending and subsidies, and Republicans, I've got a column coming out Friday, basically want to spend at Joe Biden levels. Yeah, you heard that right. The prior CR in March basically continued Biden spending, and the CR that Republicans want now continues it again. So the idea that Republicans have like a fiscally conservative position here is ridiculous because even if they got what they wanted, it's still Biden spending. And that's how you get fleeced by your representatives. That's the truth. It stinks. Rob's been really patient, and I think he wants to talk about slang. All right, Rob, what's your slang?
Hip, cool, solid, and right on.
Cool, solid, and right on.
I remember every one of them.
All those are really good.
Also hip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my dad was, of course, from the 50s, and he still calls me Cat.
Okay. Like cool cat.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, Cat, how's it going? Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but listen, you guys do a great job, great show. I can't believe I got through this quick, but I listen to you every day, and bless you.
Well, thanks, Rob. Appreciate the call. I mean, yeah, man. Y'all, 6139 said fiddlesticks. I mean, y'all, this is just kind of funny seeing these phrases. I'll read a couple more. Making hay while the sun shines. I remember getting woken up early. It's time to make hay while the sun shines. Like, the hay's making itself. Why you got to wake me up? Let's see. The one that I personally said for so long, because I'm from the South, and I, as a kid, identified the place that I put my clothes as a chest of drawers. And
Yes.
that I never realized that the thing was a chest of drawers.
Yeah, I called it Chester drawers too.
Right. And so everyone I knew referred to, go put your underwear in your Chester drawers. And I'm like, oh, okay. I knew exactly what that meant. And then only as an adult did somebody say, what are you saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, Chester drawers.
I remember. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but that was it. I mean, that was the word, and that's what I knew it as, and everybody I knew it as that. And then somebody was like, I don't think that's a thing.
I remember laundry was the wash.
The wash.
Put it in the wash.
Yeah. And how many of us said we need to put some all in the car? Okay, good. We're doing great here. Richie in Gallatin jumps on. He wants to pile on here. Richie, what you got? Slang.
Hey, I got one. You remember they used to say, give me some skin?
Yeah.
Yeah, they give you a 5 and they slide it along your hand. That was a give me some skin.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. That it also may have been in an adult club where you did that. I don't know. I mean, it's wild, Richie.
I don't know what clubs you're hanging out with.
Man, I'm a family man these days. I don't hang around any clubs, including golf clubs. I mean, none. All right.
I guess you get skin in golf too, right?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Richie. Thank you for the call. Yeah, guys. I mean, it's really reminding me. Yes, yes, I know it is a chest of drawers. I'm from the South, okay? We say things like we want to say them, not like you tell us we have to say it.
Exactly.
And that's the reason we're awesome. I mean, you remember the part where we like to fight and do all these other things? Like, that's from that, right? We say plenty of things that don't make any sense. The only thing that I've heard there's some northern. I married a Pennsylvania woman, and her mother had two things that I'd never heard before, and I think are insane. She says macadam to refer to blacktop, like asphalt, and she's like, "That's the macadam," and I'm like, okay,
Interesting.
never heard that. And she says prosciutto instead of prosciutto. And I'm like, did the Italian stop you short? Like, what are you doing? And yes, gnarly. Several of y'all have mentioned gnarly. I have to, but I don't, there are so many words that and then y'all mentioned Australian slang. My wife was the recruiter at the British Embassy when we worked in Washington, D.C., and I had no idea what they were talking about half the time. And some things are incredibly lost in translation. Like, we didn't know this, and this was incredibly embarrassing, that my wife said in the office, I'm going to smack you on the fanny. Like, it was a joke to me, and that nobody knew. Fanny for the British is a lady part, and we had no idea. So we've learned lots of things that don't translate well, and so some of y'all need to understand that. Yes, from Mississippi, and we used to say weed eating, and that's how you trim the yard. You got to get out the weed eater.
Yep.
And again,
Wait, is that not the technical term?
there was a brand, I believe, called Weed Eater. But
What is that called then?
Well, you have like Steel and Ryobi and all. It is
But what is the equipment?
a trimmer.
A what?
A trimmer.
Oh, I've always assumed it was just that was the name, Weed Eater.
No. And that's weird, but yes, there's many things that we think and say that everyone knows what we're talking about and no one else does. We got to take a break in just a second, but I did want to, I was kind of curious as we were looking through this immigration stuff. We're going to try to mix some slang in throughout the show. Terry, Kevin, we'll get to y'all on the other side of the break. But also some little factoids and things like that. The border, the southern border, has seen zero releases into the interior for 4 consecutive months. Wow. We are seeing less than 10,000 border apprehensions a month, and during the Biden administration, we had like 200,000 a month, the peak months. And the fiscal year 2024 total for ICE interior removals, the deportations, in fiscal year 24 was 272,000. It's around 400,000 now. The immigration climate is changing radically. And I think it's a good thing, because then we can have the ability to check policy, decide what we want to do, from what the law actually is, not from how poorly it's enforced. So we'll talk about that and other things when we come back. I'm Cameron Smith. You're listening to The Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
Hello, gentlemen. Obviously, it is a tender subject when I talk about intimacy in your romantic relationship, but I always like to treat it with the respect that it deserves. And gentlemen, you don't have to whistle past that graveyard any longer, and you don't have to just put it beyond you. There comes a time in every man's life where he feels like, well, I guess the intimacy, the romance in the relationship has gone by. You do not have to deal with that. You can go to Tennessee Men's Clinic, and it's a very intimate and a very personal conversation that you'll have with a urologist at Tennessee Men's Clinic. But at the same time, it's very important because you can get back in the game, man, through the Tennessee Men's Clinic. And that is so important in your relationship to do just that. So with locations in Cool Springs, the original in Midtown, and now a brand new one in Clarksville, their urologists are there for you. They'll bring you in, they'll give you some blood work, they'll give you some blood testing, and they'll figure out what's going on in your body and how they can assist you to get you back in the game. That's what it's all about, man. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or 615-208-9090 to schedule an appointment at either 3 locations today. You're losing your hair and you need a simple solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology with top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need Advanced Hair Restoration. They've completely redefined hair restoration from the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address them all with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed environment with the most experienced professionals. Advanced Hair has performed tens of thousands of these breakthrough treatments. And get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one in Nashville can offer anything like the Advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair, and I highly recommend their team. It starts with your free consultation. Call 629-348-HAIR. If you qualify, you get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. 629-348-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Has war been declared on the cartels? And we now know the identity of the Manchester, UK synagogue killer. That's coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Welcome back. Time flies when you're having fun. I mean, good grief, that hour flew. And I want to get, Kevin, I got just a little time to talk about visas, and then we'll have to wrap it up. So I'm going to come to you real quick. What you got, Kevin?
Hey, Kevin. So I'm just curious. So, if I was a traveling student or traveling abroad and I was out of the country and I required some type of medical attention, I'm assuming the insurance that I cover while I'm in my home country would cover those costs as well.
Sometimes.
Have we always subsidized? Oh, okay. So we've always subsidized students with some type of medical cost, or?
I don't know if the phrase always is the right one, because the Affordable Care Act subsidies, for example, have only been around since the Affordable Care Act's been around. But
right.
I do know that part of the class that was eligible, and I don't know how long they have been eligible, was basically people that have legal status. And all that means is you have come into the country through a proper channel. We have documented that in some way, and that's what you have, right? So that's the student visa, that's the asylum seeker, folks like that. Does that make sense?
It does, but I mean, even with the Affordable Care Act, right? So if you're not giving or provided insurance through your company, then you go in and
through the exchange
buy your insurance. So how do they purchase that insurance if they're not citizens? I'm assuming because they have some form of a legal status, they're allowable to do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's my understanding from the eligibility, is that you could then go and purchase from the exchange at a subsidized rate. But, Kevin, I appreciate the call. We got to jump because we're hitting the top of the hour. But, yeah, I mean, that's the problem. And that's what Republicans said in the big, beautiful bill they were going to get to. And they did. They said, these classes, well, they're here temporarily, and we don't want them eligible for this stuff. Okay, cool. That's an eminently reasonable policy position, and it doesn't really matter how you feel about whether folks are here with status or not. They're temporary, so we're not going to make them eligible for these programs. That was a fast first hour. I see you all on the phones. We'll get to you guys. We'll have another several hours to go. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
4 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Well, the Trump administration now says the country is in an armed conflict with drug cartels. According to a Pentagon memo sent to Congress today, the administration has officially declared what it calls a non-international armed conflict with cartel groups, labeling them as non-state armed groups and their members as unlawful combatants, but they didn't name any of these groups in particular. In a briefing with members of Congress, some members of Congress wanted more answers. 3 people killed, including the suspect, and another 3 wounded after police say the suspect rammed a car into a crowd and then began stabbing people outside a synagogue in Manchester, UK on this Jewish holiday. He's been identified as Jihad al-Shami, a 35-year-old British citizen of Syrian descent. ABC's Patrick Reevell has more from London.
The attacker basically drove his car towards the synagogue in North Manchester and then got out and began stabbing people. Police tonight are praising the security and some of the worshippers at the synagogue, which was very full at the time because it is Yom Kippur. They say that they stopped the attacker getting inside. Police say they then arrived within 7 minutes and shot dead the attacker.
Now they say they've arrested 2 men in their 30s and a woman in her 60s on suspicion of terrorism offenses, though it is unclear what their relationship is to the suspect, al-Shami. As many as 750,000 U.S. federal workers have spent their first day at home as a result of the budget impasse in Congress. Tomorrow, more votes expected to end it, but Democrats say they won't support the bill unless Affordable Care Act subsidies are extended and Medicaid changes that were included in the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill are rolled back. Here's Jay O'Brien.
It remains to be seen ultimately where this kind of blame game lands. But right now, Democrats I talked to say they do believe they have the momentum, and certainly some acknowledge they are getting pressure from those in their base to demonstrate that they are putting up a fight even while they're in the minority, and they don't control the House, they don't control the Senate, and they've got Donald Trump in the White House.
Well, today, lawmakers not in session due to the Jewish holiday Yom Kippur. New developments emerging from the launch of the Memphis Safe Task Force. Attorney General Pam Bondi says that within the first 72 hours, they've made 93 arrests and confiscated 28 illegal firearms. And right now in New Jersey, Rhiannon Alley says there's a new disturbing twist. After 2 girls headed home from a school event were killed in a hit and run, another teen has been charged with their murder.
Prosecutors say 17-year-old Maria Neotis and Isabella Salas were struck by a black SUV just before 5:30 Monday night. The driver allegedly fled the scene but was later apprehended. It was originally reported to be a tragic hit-and-run accident, but 2 days later, authorities arresting a 17-year-old boy, charging him with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of the best friends.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Lots of crashes. We're going to start in Rivergate. Injury crash, left 3 lanes blocked, 65 northbound, approaching Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Over on the west end, we've got a crash blocking the right lane, 440 westbound, there at exit 1. Metro Center, a crash, 65 northbound, approaching Rosa Parks. Over near the Belmont area, got a crash, 65 northbound after Wedgwood. Creve Hall, a crash, 65 southbound after Harding Place. Then in South Nashville, police reporting a crash 24 westbound after Murfreesboro Pike. In Kentucky, we still have 24 westbound down to 1 lane just across the border there in Kentucky. That's at exit 89. 1 lane open due to road work there. And then in Woodbine, we've got a crash partially blocking the off-ramp 24 westbound to I-440. I'm Ken Weaver.
Welcome back to the second hour of the Matt Murphy Show. I'm Cameron Smith. You can join the conversation over on X too, at D Cameron Smith. D as in David, D Cameron Smith. I also like hashtag T in politics. Whenever there's a state level thing, it's a great way to get everybody on the same page. So go check that out. I will definitely engage, follow you back, that kind of stuff. A couple SuperTalk text lines, 615-737-9986. Several more really good instances of slang. Jeet-jet. Yes, as a Southerner, I'm very familiar with that one. Jeet-jet.
Jeet-jet?
Yeah. And did you eat yet is what I'm saying in Southern. And everybody down here knows what that means.
Whenever I lived in Boise, Idaho, they didn't know what supper was. I'd say supper. And someone, what? I said, supper. They said, you mean dinner? I said, no, supper.
Right. Yes. The what's interesting, and I do not count brand names as slang, but in the South particularly, we use them that way. So Kleenex is the word for tissue.
Yeah.
Coke is a carbonated beverage.
Right.
Xerox means to copy something.
Yeah.
But they're just brand names, right? So, I mean, it's not slang, but it's a little bit different use. Again, guys, there's things I can't say. So, yes, we do have a lot of those. I don't want to get the conversation dumped because we say them on the air. One that Sally mentioned was really good. Got to jump, like meaning I have to go.
Oh, yeah.
Like you don't actually have to jump. Like you are just simply leaving. It's totally fine. Terry has been quite patient, and I want to get to him. Terry, what you got on the slang front?
Well, I really don't know if it's a word because I can't even spell it. I've tried to spell it several times, and it's not in a dictionary. But when somebody's walking and meeting you, is how's everything going? You would say everything's copacetic.
Copacetic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't actually know what that word means. Like, I know what it means in the context. Like, everything's copacetic.
Right.
I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up, Terry. Do you know what it means? Like,
no, I just mean it's all right. Everything's cool.
Yeah. Let me see. It looks like COPACETIC. It means in excellent order. So there you go.
Oh,
it is.
Okay, thank you. I never knew that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Their other question is it has no Hebrew, Yiddish, or Jewish connection. people are trying to figure out where it comes from, and it doesn't seem like anybody really knows. But
Made up.
yeah, the mood was copacetic. Everything's copacetic. That's what it means. Well, thank you for the call, Terry. I appreciate it. That one, I've heard it. This says it is a slang term with an unknown origin, gained popularity in the early 20th century, and is still used today in American and Canadian English. So there you go. Let's see. Chris said Coke is not. Okay. 0633 said stomp a mud hole in your butt and walk it dry. Yeah, I've heard that one. I've had that one expressed to me a time or two. So in my butt, my head, various body parts. But yes, the stomp it's a mud puddle is the way I've heard it, and walk it dry. Let's see. What other good ones? I'm looking through. Give me a second. Some of these are great. Yeah, a grocery cart known as a buggy is a very, very good one. Lisa, she's been very patient. Lisa, tell me about some slang.
So I believe that copacetic is like a slang term that came from R&B music of the late 80s. I remember hearing it, dancing in the NCO club on Friday and Saturday nights, hearing copacetic, and I think that's where it came from.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I've just briefly looked it up and seen several things online, but it goes all the way back to apparently late 19th or early 20th century, so it had to be before that.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I just remember hearing it in some lyrics and some music and stuff in the 80s.
Yeah, well, the 80s music, there's a lot of things happening there, drugs, so who knows?
The best music.
I appreciate it, Lisa. Thank you very much for the call. Okay, I'm trying to get through you guys, so let's go quick. Greg, slang, what you got?
Yo, it's your punk rocker, man. I got gleek. You mean you spit through your teeth?
Yeah.
You ever heard that one?
Yes.
And then of course, I haven't heard anybody say, oh, snap.
Oh, snap and gleek. Gleek is, so that the word I would use was when people could spit from their saliva gland. It wasn't spitting, but yeah, that's what they called that. So, and
yeah, it's through like your teeth, though. Yeah. Gotcha.
Appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
Rocker, guys. Later.
Bye.
I didn't know that's what that was called.
Yeah, we are educating everywhere today. And several of y'all said sexier than socks on a rooster. And I don't know what that one is. I don't think I've actually heard it, but several of y'all are saying that. Let's see. Fixin' to.
Fixin' to, yes, sir.
Fixin' to. That means you're about to do a thing.
Right quick.
Yep. Right quick. It is weird that we can actually communicate with each other. All right, as I promised, we're switching policy in and out. So we've got David wants to talk about insurance. What's up, David?
Hey, yes, sir. I know that I've had health issues, and several of my friends, and how we have to jump through hoops to try to get insurance reimbursement or insurance to pay for tests or a treatment. But Blue Cross Blue Shield now is paying for sex change operations. Guys to girls, girls to guys, and they're paying for it. And they consider this not an elective procedure. They consider this a necessary procedure. And I'm just wondering what it's going to do to our insurance rates if we're having to pay for people's sex change operations.
I don't know.
It is happening. I'm not just throwing it out there. It's happening.
Yeah, well, we know people are doing those surgeries. I can't imagine just as a percentage of the population, it's that many procedures. But yeah, I mean, it absolutely, any procedure that an insurer pays for absolutely has an impact on rates. So, great point. I appreciate the call, David. Coy has been patient as well, and I think we got time for a couple more. Slang. Come on, Coy.
Yeah, man. Every American home, has got a toolbox of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Family. And I'm just wondering, do you have a pair of slip joint pliers in your toolbox?
Slip joint
Or do you have
pliers.
a pair of channel locks?
A pair of what?
Channel locks.
I do have a pair of channel locks, and I've also been snipe hunting, you know? So I know all about the different kinds of slang. What is a word that you use all the time when you were a teenager?
Wow. You know, that's only been about 50 years ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. Give me something that, you know, when you're hanging out with the boys, like what's the word?
Well, I guess things were cool in my time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate it, Coy. Thanks for the call.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. So, yeah, I mean, several on the bee's knees. That's the bee's knees. That's a really good thing. So we've been getting after that. I was pulling up. I wanted to, because I want to make sure that I told y'all right. So I know we're kind of moving between topics real fast, but y'all hang with me. Y'all are smart. Y'all can track. One big beautiful bill restricts the federally subsidized health benefits, and so it limits Medicare, Medicaid, ACA subsidies to U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, Cuban Haitian entrants, and a couple other classes. It also ends enhanced federal reimbursement for unauthorized immigrants' emergency services and tightens program integrity rules. So if a person who's here without any legal status goes to the emergency room and they get services, the doctors and everybody, they have to treat, right? They don't, somebody's bleeding out, they stop it, right? But then they find out, oh, well, you're not here with any legal status and you don't have insurance. Federal reimbursement for that is limited depending on, you know, what the circumstances are because of one big beautiful bill. And the CBO projects more than $200 billion in savings from those provisions. And this is kind of that shell game of, well, this program reimburses hospitals for uninsured coverage. Well, okay, but if that coverage is going to this person without status, and I think Democrats just kind of turn a blind eye to that. In terms of, they say, well, you know, we may not know this or this. We just know that these were uninsured. And so, you know, typically hospitals don't, you know, they care about whether you have insurance or not. They don't care as much about, you know, what your legal status is. That's not something they typically assess. And 72 says hospitals will pass those costs on to other paying patients. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's true. I mean, that's always going to be the case. And so, you know, that's pretty, I mean, that's where we are. That's why Democrats want to undo some of this stuff. Why Republicans are saying they want to insure illegal immigrants, because some of them just do, okay? Like they actually do in the states at the state level. And my take on it is like, whoa. We should quit arguing semantics about this specific thing and say, hey, if you want to offer benefits to people who are here without status, you are creating a magnet for individuals inconsistent with federal immigration law, and therefore we will not give you federal funding. If there is federal funding we can block from going to you, we will block it until you change your laws and policies to be consistent with federal law. Ray, I am not afraid to say illegal aliens. I don't believe in whack-a-mole games where we try to say, these are magic words, and if you won't say the words, then you're bad. We're not in high school. So, no, Ray, I don't have a problem saying that, but I want to be precise about what I'm saying and what I mean. Because there are immigrants who are not, in fact, here illegally, who do have legal status. And so when I talk about status or documented, it's, I think, a little bit more precise, but I don't play the magic words game. Thomas on slang. What do you got, Thomas?
Hey,
What's your word?
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Hey, I got a good slang.
Okay. You got to tell me it.
I think he lost service.
Oh, no. We lost Thomas. Well, we got to take a break anyway.
He's ghosting us.
He's ghosting. That's a good one, Ken. We got to take a break. When we come back, I see several of y'all with some slang that we need to get to, and we'll move on to a couple different policy and political topics. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Alpha and Omega. Alpha and Omega, not new to the managed services industry. They've been around for a while. They've been in the computer industry for almost 30 years now. Since 1998, they've been helping people, and a lot has changed during that time, obviously. Well, here's the deal, friends. Things have just gotten more dangerous for those in business, especially when it comes to computers, because everybody's online. I mean, your network is accessible if you're online. That means that there are cyber hackers trying to get into your information, and they're trying to use it as ransom against you. 14 successful ransomware attacks happen every day. 14. And if you're a business owner, you're vulnerable. Call Alpha and Omega. Michael and his team can protect you. They do everything regarding computers, from setup to management to IT to printers to everything involving cybersecurity. They get it done. They want to be your go-to source. Call now for a free quote. 615-784-0096, 784-0096, or A&O.net, A&O.net.
A memo from the Pentagon indicates an escalation of conflict with drug cartels on the part of the Trump administration, and police in Manchester, England, have identified the killer at the synagogue today and say they have arrested more suspects. Details at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, there goes Ken Weaver with those teasers. I mean, we just got to know. We got to know what's going on.
Got to hang around.
And that's how it works. Let's see. I'm going to see who's been waiting the longest to talk about slang. Stuart. Come on, Stuart. Tell me the slang.
Okay. Down in Louisiana, southern Louisiana, we say, how's your mama then?
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I know what that means.
You do.
Yeah, how is your mother?
Instead of saying, how's your mother and family doing, we just run it all together. How's your mama then?
Yeah, that's very southern.
That's right. Yeah, we also had another saying down there, making groceries.
Making groceries.
That's right. I remember that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
They used to say back before Hurricane Katrina wiped everything out down there, hey, man, what are you doing? I'm going down to Swegman's to make some groceries.
Yeah. And oddly, they don't make the groceries. That's a good point. Very.
That's what we call it. It said, I'm going shopping at the grocery store. No, what are you doing? Making groceries.
Making groceries. I like it. I like it. Thank you very much for the call, Stuart. Let's see. Who else we got? Bo. Come on, bro. Let me have it.
How the cow ate the cabbage.
Yeah.
You ever heard that?
I have.
It means to be brutally honest. And in the early 1900s, an old half-blind lady called the sheriff and said, Sheriff, there's this big, huge cow out in my cabbage patch, and it's pulling up all my cabbage. And the sheriff said, well, what's it doing with the cabbage? And she said, I don't think you want to know. And he said, well, you're going to have to tell me. And she said, well, he's shoving all my cabbage up his butt. And turned out a elephant had escaped from Barnum and Bailey and was in her cabbage patch.
That's pretty great. That's really great.
Yeah, so that's how the cow ate the cabbage.
How the cow ate the cabbage. Well, I appreciate it, Bo. Thank you for the call. That's, man.
I didn't know that.
That blind lady out there, he's shoving the cabbage up his butt. Woo. I don't know. 9111 said, and I used this all as a kid, hawk a loogie.
Yes.
I mean, I never really thought about what a loogie was. I mean, I just knew what it was. I mean, it's funny. The interwebs have all this stuff, and but they define slang, and so then they say it is a lump of phlegm or spittle. I'm like,
that's even worse.
Imagine that you had to say, I need to discharge a lump of phlegm or spittle, and probably get you punched in the face.
Well, you'd have to do that with your pinky out.
Pinky. You know, that raised pinky on your coffee mug, you got to watch out for those folks. They're everywhere. So going back to shutdown, I told y'all about the Fair Treatment for Government Employees Act of 2019. This is in response to the last shutdown we had. This basically says we're going to pay them back, right? So all y'all need to know that if we furlough folks, we're going to pay them back. And several of y'all have said, well, what about, they should just fire them and do this stuff. Well, there's a little bit of a complexity here that I'll talk to you about because I researched it last night because I actually wanted to know. I knew the basics, but I didn't know all of it. And I want to tell y'all a little bit more about the Anti-Deficiency Act, the federal regulations for notice and all this other stuff. It's a little dorky, but I want you guys to hear it so that you can be armed for conversation when people say, well, why don't we just fire them permanently and not have these federal employees come back? We'll talk about that on the other side of the break, as well as look at, I really do want to get to the Bill of Rights. I know that sounds kind of silly that 8th grade civics is a thing, but I want to kind of go down this stuff. I mean, some of y'all, I don't know if y'all know what the Bill of Rights is. I'm going to ask you about it. We're going to figure it out together, and we're going to talk through this stuff. 7672, before we take a break, ask a really great question. Can we assume that Congress is having their paychecks withheld? Do not assume that. they are still getting paid. And several have said, ask the clerk of the House or the clerk of the Senate to hold their paychecks so they're not like Ted Cruz did that. Katie Britt did that. There's a couple folks like that. But no, actually, they are still getting paid. And I've got some thoughts on that, too. We got to take a break. This is the Matt Murphy Show. I'm Cameron Smith, and you're listening to Super Talk 99.7.
4:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Getting some breaking news here now. NBC says that the FDA has just approved a generic form of the abortion drug mifepristone, less than 2 weeks after Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. said the agency would review its safety. And the Trump administration now says the country is in an armed conflict with drug cartels. According to a Pentagon memo sent to Congress today, the administration has officially declared a, quote, non-international armed conflict with cartel groups, labeling them as non-state armed groups and their members as unlawful combatants. But they did not name the specific groups. And some members of Congress want some more answers. Police in Manchester, England say 3 suspects are now in custody for the attack on a synagogue. 3 people killed, including the suspect, and another 3 were wounded after police say he rammed a car into a crowd and then began stabbing people. ABC's Patrick Reevell has more from London.
They say that he was wearing a vest that appeared to look like a suicide vest, but on closer inspection, they say it was not viable. They did conduct a controlled explosion earlier today.
So police have identified the suspect as Jihad al-Shami, a 35-year-old British citizen of Syrian descent. Police say the 3 suspects they arrested include 2 men in their 30s and a woman in her 60s. Right now in Nashville, police investigating a deadly shootout last night between a group of people wearing masks and others that left one of the masked people dead and injured innocent bystanders near the intersection of Sylvan and South 6th Streets. Residents say they're already on edge and the violence made it worse.
It's kind of bad, honestly. It adds to the stress levels that we have because you have your normal stressors of rent and everything else in this area, and then you turn around and you have to worry about, now we have shootings again. Who are we going to have to worry about going out at night?
Metro Police say they seized 3 guns from the scene, an AR-style pistol and 2 handguns. Homicide detectives actively working on leads to determine the reason for the shootout. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Rivergate injury crash has been moved to the right shoulder, 65 northbound approaching Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Over in the Belmont area, we got a crash, 65 northbound after Wedgwood. On the west end, the right lane is blocked, 440 westbound near exit 1. Metro Center, a crash reported, 65 northbound approaching Rosa Parks. And in Woodbine, a crash partially blocking the off-ramp from 24 westbound to I-440. And in Creve Hall, a crash, 65 southbound after Harding Place. And in Hermitage, a crash, off-ramp partially blocked, 40 westbound to Old Hickory Boulevard. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I absolutely love Grace Point Healthcare. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. It's the right way to do it, a direct pay format. And right now, I want to tell you an update on the basic SmartCare plan. Remember, folks, thanks to the big, beautiful bill, you sign up for the SmartCare plan, and you can pay for this through your HSA account. That's right. Your HSA account can take care of your SmartCare plan, the monthly cost of that, at Grace Point Healthcare. Pricing is as follows: $99 a month for adults, $79 a month for children, or you can sign up for the family plan and receive 10% off for each additional family member after the first additional enrollee. Ask them about all of these things when you make the call that so many have made to Grace Point Healthcare at 599-6868, 599-6868. Located in the heart of Franklin and worth the drive from anywhere, Grace Point Healthcare truly does deliver on their promises, and you don't have to be beholden to the insurance company to get quality care. Frankly, I would encourage them for anyone, but right now, this is the time of year where kids are going in for sports physicals, and you can get one for $99. If you're traveling internationally, you can get a $150 travel visit. Grace Point is a complete international travel immunization clinic. That's right, $150, and they'll take care of all of it for you at Grace Point Healthcare. Once again, Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk about my buddies at the Glock Store. Last week, we talked about the AccuShoot LFX system being demoed at the Glock Store. Dan Mandis went out to try it. I am so bummed that my week was so compacted that I was not able to get out there. I am bummed out. Dan Mandis loved it. Well, on Saturday, the capper for the week, AccuShoot LFX held their first international shooting competition, and the Glock Store was one of 5 teams competing around the world. And I was not surprised that Mitch Young has personally trained me. He is the range and training manager of the Glock Store. And how about that? He could train you, too. So Mitch is my trainer. He can be your trainer at the Glock Store when you go to shoot270.com. He won first place. First place around the globe. Now, I've seen him shoot, and that's no surprise to me. What did surprise me is that his teammate, Dave, who just started training with Mitch and his crew a little over a month ago, came in 3rd worldwide. So not only is Mitch as accurate as you can find in the world, he's training his folks to be as accurate as him. Now, he did go on to the Glock Store to shoot drills on the AccuShoot LFX on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but still, he's been in training for a month and coming in 3rd worldwide. That's pretty cool. He was shooting a Glock 47 with some Glock recommended performance parts, and 1 month of Glock Store training and 3rd in a worldwide competition is pretty darn cool. That's the type of training that you get at the one and only Glock Store, the incomparable shoot270.com indoor range. And it's why I recommend them. It is proof in the pudding, as my grandma used to say. Minutes away from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Glock Store.
All right, I need you to know that y'all are killing me in a good way. I was dying laughing during the break. Reading, I mean, y'all have just been rolling with the slang expressions that I'm learning new ones I didn't know, and I am so excited. Slang for passing gas, floating an air biscuit. I mean, that's amazing. I've never heard that, but I'm going to use that. Oops, just floated in air, biscuit. I mean, that's great stuff. We've got 3569 said 8th grade civics is not a thing. Not anymore. Not really. Let's see. Looks like we had a frog strangler last night. Never heard of that. Okay.
A frog strangler.
Frog strangler. And you know what happens when you assume it makes y'all know the rest of it. That was a pretty good one. Again, guys, y'all give me some that I can't say, but they're funny. Far out. Yeah. Far out. Like, that's wild. I'm big boned.
Yeah. I use that.
Yeah.
You're not fat. You're just big boned.
Big boned. Yeah. I learned that as a kid. I was husky.
Yeah, husky.
You know what a husky is? A dog.
Yeah.
To say, oh, my Bugle Boy jeans, they were husky. Like, guys, you know, there's a bit of nostalgia here. I get why we're having fun with this one. I mean, I still remember hypercolor T-shirts where they would change color. You put them on, and then you touch them, and they change color. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
You also had that one comedian, I'm not fat, I'm fluffy.
Yeah, well, there
Fluffy.
was Fluffy Iglesias. I believe that's the name of that. Ray said, perception is reality.
Yep.
Yeah. We don't know what reality is anymore, so it's fine. I mean, you can just say whatever, and people are like, oh, sure, no problem. Okay, some of y'all have been extremely patient. I'm going to get to you. Richie, you've been very patient. What you got, Richie?
Hey, here's one. I don't know if you guys ever heard this. Tripping the light fantastic.
Tripping the light fantastic?
I've heard that.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it means, but I've heard it.
Okay, this is way before any of our time, but it means dancing.
Oh, I would not got that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Well,
you might think tripping the light fantastic might be like dancing with lights on LSD, maybe.
Yeah, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Yeah.
You know, there you go.
Or it could have been used back in the 40s, right? What do you say, doll? What do you say we tripped the light fantastic, eh?
I can see that, Ken. That sounds good. I like it.
Well, one more.
Okay, Richie.
What was it? W.C. Fields. I never met a man I didn't like. Then I never met you.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
That's it.
that's good, Richie. Thank you for the call. I appreciate that. Thomas, you've been patient. What you got?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, I bet Ken might know this one. A Maypop?
A Maypop?
Maypop.
A Maypop.
I don't know that one.
That's when you're sitting at a red light and you look over and there's a set of bald tires and you're like, oh, those may pop any minute.
Hey, that's pretty good. I like that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. A Maypop.
A Maypop.
I'll use that.
Hey.
Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely love the show, man. I'm a long-time listener. I miss Uncle Phil, and y'all are doing a fantastic job.
it. Well, thank you. We're having fun. Look, y'all been great today. I love this. Y'all show. Y'all like the topic. That's what we're going to talk about. Jill, what do you got? You've been real patient.
I've got slang from only people in West Tennessee.
West Tennessee slang.
Here we go.
Yes. My grandmother was born in 1919. She had 7 sisters, 1 brother. And a phrase we used when we didn't know something was Clifton never knowed. And I'm gonna give you the backstory real quick.
Hang on, I want to make sure I heard it. Clifton never knowed?
Clifton never knowed.
Okay.
My mamaw, she was a Treese. If you're a Treese, a Jackson, a James, a Bryant, a Flippin in West Tennessee, then you're part of my family. So she went to a one-room schoolhouse down from Reelfoot Lake. That's where I grew up. And her one-room schoolhouse, K through 12, went to school. She always joked because she said, I was a valedictorian. Well, she and her twin sister were the only 2 seniors in the class when they graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so it's that small. So anyway, she was a senior, and a little kindergarten boy named Clifton. The bell rang. They all went out to recess. This little girl, her name was Maxine. Well, she fell asleep under a tree. The bell rang. They all came back in. Well, Clifton apparently looked at Maxine and thought she had died, and she came running in. He came running in, and he said, "Magazine's dead. Magazine's dead." He couldn't say Maxine. He called her Magazine. And so the teacher runs out, and Maxine wakes up, and the teacher looks and says, "Clifton, Maxine was just asleep." And he said, "Teacher, Clifton never knowed."
And that became a West Tennessee slang. All right.
It did. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate the call, Jill. Thank you. That's Clifton never knowed. I got that. Now, Jonah said, "Heavens to Betsy."
I remember that one.
I don't know what that. I know the expression.
Yeah.
But I have no idea who Betsy is. Like, apparently she might have died or something.
Seems like I might have heard people that my grandparents were talking to say that at a time or two.
Okay.
Heavens to Betsy.
Heavens to Betsy. And Josh, one of my friends from Nolensville, who's incidentally, his son has the best mullet that I've ever seen.
All right.
I mean, it is strong.
Yes, sir.
He said in basically the Rust Belt, we say yins, Y-I-N-Z, as in, are yins going to the game tonight?
Yes.
And I've heard that. I've never used that. But I do think regional slang is definitely a thing.
Yes.
And
Yuns.
yes, Ewans. And I've heard a southern version of that, like Ewans, like
Ewans.
Y-O-U-N-Z.
Right.
And they're all kind of, takes on the same thing. So heavens to Betsy, though. I wonder what happened to Betsy. I'm very, very concerned. Let's see. I got a couple more. Dave in Columbia. Dave, what do you got?
Hey, I got an old pickup truck out here that I got 4 Maypop tires on.
Or Maypop tires. Hey, this Maypop's the thing. I'm going to start using that now. I love that. I think it's great.
I buy them used. I go, hey, give me 4 of them Maypops. But
Yeah.
one I don't know, some guy called in earlier talking about Louisiana. There's one we use down there, crawfishing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know what? That's when somebody says they're going to do something and then they back out on it. Like these politicians say they're going to reduce the spending, and they crawfish on us. They're crawfishing.
I like that. I get it. Like I've actually heard that used that way, but it's been a minute, and
yeah,
I'm going to use that a lot. We're talking to a lot of politicians on this show, so like, are you crawfishing on me?
That's right. Hey, and fog strangler, that's a rainstorm.
Really?
Yeah, you get a big heavy rainstorm, that's a fog strangler.
Okay.
Right.
I got it.
Man, I knew that.
All right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Dave.
All right.
See ya. Man, y'all are saying stuff faster than I can talk through it. So I appreciate it. Y'all have been really great on this stuff. We got to get a little bit of, we're going to try to weave in a little substance. I was actually, Treasury.gov has this, has a really good website, and it has all the fiscal data. Like it said, year over year spending's up 6%. Incidentally, how much has the federal government spent this year? The number is $6.66 trillion. For those of y'all who don't believe in coincidences, mark of the beast and spending and stuff. But I was curious because most of us don't think about where the money actually goes. Like we hear stuff and we're like, well, it goes to help for illegal immigrants, or it goes to this agency or that. Actually, what's kind of crazy is it gets chunked out so fast in terms of what the big drivers are, and then it's sort of everything else. So I'm going to list these just so you guys know. We'll take a break. We'll wrap out the hour. We got nincompoops at 5:30, something like that. But we'll roll with the slang as long as you guys want to, because I think it's fascinating. as far as spending goes, and this is by category, not agency. Actually, I can do both. If you look at federal spending by agency, let's start there. That's actually more interesting. 27% is health and human services. And this is federal spending, the entirety. 23% Social Security Administration. 21% Department of the Treasury. 12% Department of Defense. 5% Veterans Affairs. 3% Agriculture. 2% Education. 2% Office of Personnel Management. 2% Transportation. 2% Homeland Security. And 2% everything else. So, I mean, there are only 4 double-digit agencies as far as the percentage of federal spending. Everything else is single-digit. By category, this is actually kind of crazy. 22% Social Security, 14% Medicare, 14% net interest. So we're paying as much to Medicare as we are to net interest, and vice versa. Think about that. You could fund Medicare again with the net interest payment. Health is 13%, national defense 13%, income security 10%, veterans benefits and services 5%, education, training, employment, and social services 3%, 2% transportation, natural resources and environment 1%, and 3% for everything else. So what we actually spend these trillions of dollars on is incredibly concentrated. And so nobody wants to talk about it, but you're basically looking at your entitlement programs in defense if you want to get spending under control. That's just kind of how you got to do it. Everything else just doesn't amount to a whole lot. So when politicians are telling you they're not going to touch entitlements and we're never going to reduce defense spending, what they're telling you is they're not actually going to get this fiscal train on a track that's sustainable anytime soon. We got to take a break. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. So here's the deal, folks. When I first got to Nashville, Tennessee, I had back issues. I had a lower back thing going on that's kind of a constant deal that I have to work with on a regular basis. And I had this upper back issue. Spinal decompression was my key to unlocking a pain-free life, especially when it came to my upper back and neck area. And now I want to encourage you to get to the Wellness Institute of Nashville to experience the same thing. I made the switch to Dr. Mitch, I guess about a year or so ago now, and I'm so pleased that I did. He has the latest technologies available at his fingertips to help you feel better without the need for needles, without the need for spinal injections, and without the consideration for surgery. That's what it's all about. And now they have modern techniques. I mean, they're literally, spinal decompression is exactly what it sounds like, right? Over the years, your spine gets compressed either through injury or just age, and you get some bone-on-bone action, you get some bone-on-nerve action, you get some disc action going on, and suddenly you're in debilitating pain. What if I told you there was a way where you could heal the disc by opening it up, allowing blood, hydration, nutrition into that area, and that's going to heal you and create a pain-free environment. What about it? $12 Big Daddy Trump special going on right now. 615-246-5009. 246-5009 or painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com.
Has war been declared on the cartels? I'll tell you about it coming up at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We got all kinds of fun guitars happening. I'm getting jazzy here.
There you go.
That's good. That's
Jazzy.
good. So I see you guys with the slang. We'll talk about that. I was during the break looking up laws as to whether you can eat your pets. Don't worry, it's related to my nincompoop, so it'll be fine. It's completely normal. But it's also a Florida man. I mean, what can I say? We've only got a couple minutes, but I want to get to those of y'all who've been waiting on slang. Meredith, what you got?
Yontu.
Yontu?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a real good one. We all know that one. Yontu go around. Yeah. Well,
I just didn't know if anybody had said that yet.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Meredith. Thank you for the call. Yontu. That's a great one. I mean, I've asked that a lot of people, and then I fill in the blank with something they should probably say no to, and yet they don't, because it's just a warm and inviting, greeting. It's Yontu. Come on, let's go, and that's where they are. Good grief! I mean, just the regional differences. Sally said 2 sandwiches shy of a picnic. This is the Matt Murphy Show. I'm Cameron Smith. We got to take a break. Y'all come on back.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And the Trump administration now says the U.S. is in an armed conflict with drug cartels. It's in a memo sent to Congress that calls it a, quote, non-international armed conflict and labels cartel members as, quote, unlawful combatants. Pentagon officials briefed lawmakers, but couldn't name which cartels or terrorist groups are involved. That left some members of Congress frustrated, pushing for answers. Police in Manchester, England, say 3 suspects now in custody for that attack on a synagogue today. 2 men in their 30s and a woman in her 60s. ABC's Patrick Reevell has more from London.
But clearly this attack has caused immense pain and has shaken the community up in Manchester as well as the country more broadly. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has come back early from Denmark on an official visit there and held an emergency meeting tonight of the cabinet and has condemned this as an anti-Semitic attack and promised to provide more security for the Jewish community in Britain.
Yeah, 3 people were killed, including the suspect who was driving a car, 35-year-old Jihad al-Shami. This after police say al-Shami rammed a car into a crowd, then began stabbing people. He was shot and killed by police. Here in this country, government shutdown day 2 with the earliest vote to try to end it, not until tomorrow. More from ABC's Jay O'Brien, who said 3 Senate Democrats voted with Republicans yesterday.
It's notable that they got those 3, but we haven't seen any progress with any others. The next time the Senate's going to vote is tomorrow, so we'll get a temperature check tomorrow when that same piece of government funding legislation that failed in the night before the shutdown, failed yesterday, will go up on the Senate floor, and it's expected, unless something changes, that it's going to fail again.
Well, a member of President Trump's cabinet is speaking out about convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick calls Epstein the greatest blackmailer ever. In an interview with the New York Post, here's ABC's Rena Roy.
Lutnick, who once lived next door to Epstein, told a New York Post podcast Epstein once gave him a tour of his home, saying Epstein's high-profile associates not only knew of his behavior, but that some even participated.
Did they see it and ignore it, or
no? They participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was. Get a massage, and what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Without providing evidence, Lutnick saying he believes Epstein may have traded alleged blackmail videos for a lesser prison sentence during his first criminal case in 2008.
The FBI and Justice Department have said there's no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent people. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Metro Center, a crash, 65 northbound, approaching Rosa Parks Boulevard. Looks like that may be about to be cleared up. Then looks like an injury crash in the Fisk-Meharry area of Nashville, Jefferson Street, Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard. And over on the west end, TDOT says the right lane is blocked by a crash, 440 westbound near exit 1. And then in Rivergate, injury accident has been moved off to the shoulder there on the right, 65 northbound approaching Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Near Belmont, police reporting a crash 65 northbound after Wedgwood. Then in West Nashville, a crash blocking the left shoulder, 40 westbound after 46th Avenue, 51st Avenue. Creve Hall, a crash 65 southbound after Harding Place. And in Woodbine, a crash off-ramp partially blocked, 24 westbound to I-440. And on the South Loop now, we got a crash 40 eastbound near 4th Avenue, 2nd Avenue, exit 210C. In Hermitage, a crash partially blocking the off-ramp 40 westbound to Old Hickory Boulevard. I'm Ken Weaver.
Welcome back to the third hour of the Matt Murphy Show. I'm Cameron Smith. We have been talking about slang, generational slang, like the words we use. And you all have helped me realize that a lot of the words we use, some of them I even use. Y'all mentioned roughhousing. Like, I use that word all the time. Roughhousing with my boys. Well, that's like a verb, but it's just a phrase that we use, that if I tried to explain that to somebody who is learning English as a second language, they would be like, what is rough about your house? And how does your house relate to your interaction with your boys? Well, we're roughhousing. So that's another good one. You also asked me a very fair question. I mentioned yesterday on the show that I had asked the Congressional Research Service to give me a map, an org chart, if you will, of the executive branch agencies in the federal government by agency and sub-agency. And they basically laughed at me and said, no, it's so big, so constantly changing, we can't do that. And one of you guys said, well, why don't you ask AI? And so I did query Gemini Pro. It struggled mightily with the request, and then gave me an image of an org chart with incoherent characters on it. So I can't really tell you what it said. But then I asked for a text-based version of it, and here's what Gemini Pro, a AI that has access to billions of data points, said, creating a completely accurate and comprehensive text-based organizational chart for the entire U.S. executive branch, including all agencies and their sub-agencies, is challenging due to its immense size and constant structural changes. Guys, something tells me we're doing this wrong. I mean, come on. If we're at a point where even the best, edgiest computing power we have struggles to come up with an org chart for the federal government, what's bigger than AI? The federal government. But it was interesting because there are a lot of agencies and sub-agencies in this list that it did provide that you haven't heard of. And that to me is really, and some of them, look, I worked in Congress, so I've heard of most of these, but we rarely talk about the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, in the Department of Commerce. We have the Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, FHEO. Brent said Grok is the best. I like Grok. I use Grok for other things on my laptop. I've found that Gemini, it likes me. It works out really well. We have a good working relationship. What a lot of people don't realize about this stuff, I don't want to get off on the AI side tangent, but the more you work with it, the better responses you get because it's learning from you. And so having paid accounts on these things where you're kind of building up the muscle memory with the AI actually works really, really, really well. So some of it is which AI is best. Some of it is how much have you worked with one of them. So I would say figure out one you like. Everybody needs to learn this stuff. I know a lot of y'all don't like to hear me say that, but find one you like, use it a ton, and you get some really good answers. The agencies, though, here's agencies. You can tell me what cabinet level agency do they fall under? Jackson, Ken, y'all can answer these if you know. Central Intelligence Agency.
Defense.
Wrong. Social Security Administration.
Finance.
Wrong.
Is that one? Is that even a?
No.
I have no idea, man.
How about the EPA?
Environmental Protection Agency?
Yep. Okay, so this is a trick question because these are independent agencies. They stand alone, which, again, I think is kind of dumb. Like these are within the executive branch, but they're independent agencies established by Congress. And so, the president can put a administrator for the EPA, but it's an independent agency. They're not part of a cabinet level department. And this is really ridiculous. And yes, I am aware that NIST is a big deal. We just don't talk about NIST a lot. The Postal Service, for example, FCC, SEC, independent regulatory commissions, the Fed. It's not under Department of Commerce. And that's what is so strange here is, talk about needing a reorg. I mean, our executive branch could use somebody like just smashing this stuff and saying, no, we're gonna overhaul this because the structure's silly. And what we've done is we've glommed on, we've said, no, this can't live. It's too important to go under a cabinet secretary. It has to be its own thing. It's still under the president, but we want it to be independent. But, some of the stuff isn't actually, like Department of Justice. The Attorney General is a cabinet level person. We want the Justice Department to not do the political things for any administration. We want them to just enforce the law. Like, that's what we want. But they're not independent. So, like, all these games are silly. If you're in the executive branch, you work for the President of the United States, you serve at the pleasure of the President of the United States, full stop. That's it. And this whole thing is just crazy, silly, and I don't know why we continue to act like this stuff is okay, especially after what I mentioned earlier, that we have so much consolidation on spending. 5525 says, more slang words. To that end, I'm going to Todd. All right, Todd. Slang words. Let's go.
Hey, crop dusting.
Crop dusting. we know what that one is. That in my house, that one is regular. Somebody crop dust the kitchen table? Yeah. Coming in for dinner? Thanks, guys. You're fun. What else you got, Todd?
That's it.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call, man. I think that, and every now and then, we have a topic that we talk about that you guys just go nuts on, right? And this appears to be one of them. And I think the reason is, one, it's just having a conversation. And two, it's nostalgia, right? Like, it's a sense of, hey, this is who we are and how we do things. And I think that's actually one of the fascinating things about language is we use words different ways. We use phrases different ways. And the way that we do that is a connective tissue to who we are, right? It helps you identify your people. Like, I know when I go to a place like Pittsburgh, I stand out a little bit. Okay. Like, I mean, it's a big city. There's people from all over. Nobody's like, you're some kind of weirdo, but they can tell I'm not from around here. And I think, I've never heard of a pizza duster. I don't know what you're doing to the pizza, but you should not do that. No, don't crop dust your pizza. That's, nope. Well, butter my biscuit. We do have a lot of phrases involving biscuits, and I think that's very, very fair. Riz. Yeah, we've been Riz Lord, Theodore Roosevelt, Wizard of Oz. I mean, all are acceptable. My boys, one that y'all may have heard is him. That is the phrase for I'm the man, right? You're definitely him. You're the guy. That's a newer one. Runt's good one. You ruined it. You ruined. So that's how the word goes. Let's see. Willy nilly. I don't know who Willie was, but Willie and his nilly was. Yeah, I know what that phrase is. Man, we're loading up on slang again. Y'all are the audience has spoken. Forget General Services Administration and National Labor Relations Board. We want to talk about slang. That's fair. I'm not going to argue with you. You're the audience. You get what you want. Eric, what's your slang?
For all the newlyweds out there and married couples, a Dutch oven.
A Dutch oven. Okay.
Yep, we'll look that one up.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. The fact is I'm 90% sure I know what you're talking about, and I'll let the audience look that up. I appreciate the call, man. Good grief, you guys. This is a family show. Y'all are killing me.
Yes, sir.
Y'all are killing me.
Yeah, this one, yeah.
I don't know. Good grief, y'all. Okay.
It's kind of like crop dusting.
Yeah, I know. I got it right. Good grief. All right. D'Angelo, slang, what you got?
mind you.
Mind you.
Mind you.
Yep.
The way that you would use it. I was walking down the street and I saw these two cats fighting, right? Mind you, I just saw the same two guys fighting earlier today.
Yeah.
That's how you use it.
I like it. That's a good one. I've seen that one a lot. Thanks for the call. Let's see. Mike. What is it, Mike? What's the one?
Yes, sir. I have one for you called bodacious.
Bodacious.
Yes.
Man, that's been a minute since I heard bodacious.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great day. Thank you for the fun.
Thank you. Yeah, the bodacious is always followed by body.
Yeah.
And man, I can hear bodacious, body, and then immediately Cindy Crawford comes to mind. Like, I don't know why, but like that was when I was a teenager, like she was everywhere, and she had that like mole on her top lip, and that was her signature thing. And yep, bodacious.
Yeah, I remember that from, oh, heck, man. I remember that from being in elementary school in the late 70s.
Yeah.
And then early 80s.
Yeah, and I mean, what's interesting with my boys is they are interested in what was cool when I was their age. And I'm like, have you heard of a DeLorean? And they're like, what? I'm like, a DeLorean. How about Lamborghini Diablo? And the gull wing doors. I mean, that was it was everything, man. Like that amazing. Okay, Terry, what do you got?
Yep. Darn you, that'll learn you.
It'll learn you. Yeah.
Mama said, don't touch that stove. You touch it anyway. And it burnt your hands.
Yeah. I love that. That is a great one, Terry. Thank you for the call. I'll learn you. That's actually what was funny in law school. They taught me that one of the ways that you would insult a fellow attorney is referring to them as the learned. So it'd be the learned Ken Weaver tells me about Oklahoma, and that was how you told them that they weren't real bright. Let's see. I like it because y'all are wearing Jackson out with the phones, so that's good. All right, Cameron, that's a great name. What slang do you have?
Hell, all that and a bag of chips.
Yeah, yep, that's a good one. Now, what kind of chips?
Me, it's barbecue.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think that's what they meant when they said that bag of chips. It couldn't have been like plain Lay's or anything. It's got to be like.
It's got to be barbecue.
All right. Appreciate it, Cameron. Thank you for the call. I'm going fast, guys. I'm trying to get to as many of y'all as I can, and mind that we need a break. I'm going to come to Charlie real quick, and we got to take a break. Okay, Charlie, tell me what the slang is.
Can't get blood out of a turnip.
Yes. Oh, man. That is a great one, Charlie. I love that one. Thanks for the call. Several of y'all have said that. Can't get blood out of a turnip. I want to know why you're trying. Why would you want to get a bloody turnip? If you got a bloody turnip, you got a bigger problem. Several of y'all have said hanging in there like a hair on a biscuit. Like that one. We got to take a break. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
Friends, if you own land and you're looking to do something with it, or perhaps you want to add value to it, might I recommend an incredible post-frame building from Stoltz Co. They are the leading provider of post-frame buildings in Middle Tennessee and beyond. Stoltz Co. is the company that delivers first-class customer service with the creation of any post-frame building you can imagine, such as a pole barn, a garage, an equestrian space, an event space, or, yes, a barn dominium. Folks live in these post-frame buildings. The barn dominiums are incredible. You just need to see them to understand them. When you go to StoltzCo.com, I'll spell that for you in just a moment, StoltzCo.com, you can see a future home. You can see someplace to turn into a she shed or a man space. Whatever you're looking to do, perhaps an in-law suite on your property. It will raise the value of your property, and it will give you great memories for years and years to come. Friends, go to STOLTZCO.com. That's stoltzco.com. Or give them a call and sit down and talk to them today about what you desire, what you dream. If you can dream it, they can do it at Stoltzco. 615-622-5992. 622-5992 for Stoltzco.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia update coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Is that cake?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. She's going the distance. It's going for speed. I like cake a lot.
Yeah, I saw them over at Ascend
Oh,
a
wow.
couple of months ago.
Yeah, Fashion Nugget was their album that so I grew up in a very conservative Christian home, fantastic family, fantastic parents, but they were way guarded about what I could watch and not watch. I mean, they banned Ninja Turtles because of the Far Eastern influence. It was that level of conservative. And so basically we didn't really watch TV. We didn't have cable. My grandparents got cable, but we did not get cable. And not until I was like late in high school, like almost out of the house. But music was like a big deal, right? And so they gave me like Jeff Moore in The Distance. They gave me Carmen, Michael W. Smith. My brother went to school with Michael W. Smith's son, and, we went to CPA for elementary school. So there were a lot of music people there in the Christian scene. And I don't know if they still do it over at CPA, but they had this like big concert thing. And so that was what my parents wanted me to listen to. They finally came to they 4317 says cake is uber liberal.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. I did not know that. I did not care when I was a teenager either. But the first album they let me have was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' Greatest Hits.
Nice one.
And man, I thought I had stolen something because I didn't think my parents knew what Mary Jane's Last Dance was about. And I'm like, oh my goodness, when my parents find out about this. And then in a music video that probably could not be released today, Tom Petty dressed up, I think it was Christy Brinkley, as a attractive corpse. And the video was basically a depiction of necrophilia. But it was a cool song. So, whatever. But yes, that was every bit of my upraising. So when I hear something like cake, it's a big deal because I was ultimately allowed to buy Fashion Nugget. I went to Sam Goody. That's where we used to go buy CDs. There was a store that you went into that had music, and I'm that old now, and it is. But yeah, man. I mean, those were some of the CDs, and the Beatles. Oddly, my parents approved the Beatles, and so I got to listen to all the Beatles, all their By the time I came around, it was all their remastered stuff, their greatest hits albums, stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. We got to take a break. When we get back, I still got y'all on the line about slang. So if y'all going to do that, we're going to do that. I also want to throw out a proposal for tying federal pay for members of Congress to how they perform on spending.
Ooh.
I think it can work, y'all. I got an idea, and I want to know what you think. I'm Cameron Smith. This is Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
.5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And here's your Kilmar Abrego Garcia update.
In an emergency motion filed in August to reopen the case, attorneys for the wrongly deported Abrego Garcia argued that because he was sent to El Salvador and then brought back to the United States, he's now eligible to reapply for asylum. But in an order filed on Wednesday, immigration judge Philip Taylor said Abrego Garcia's motion to reopen his asylum case is untimely because he filed the motion nearly 6 years after his immigration proceedings, beyond the 90-day deadline required. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Trump administration escalating its stance on drug cartels, now declaring the U.S. is in an armed conflict with them. A memo sent to Congress calls it a, quote, non-international armed conflict and labels cartel members as, quote, unlawful combatants. Pentagon officials briefed lawmakers on the shift, but didn't name which cartels or terrorist groups are involved. That lack of clarity left some members of Congress frustrated and demanding answers. Right now in Nashville, Metro Police looking for answers and working leads to find suspects from a shootout near Casey Homes in East Nashville that left one of the gunmen dead and injured innocent bystanders last night. Residents telling Channel 4.
I was playing video games on my computer and I heard the gunshots behind me, basically, because my window's slightly behind me. And I turned and I was like, what was that? And started trying to peek out, see if I saw anybody running or anything.
Yeah, so the shootout was between a group of masked people and others. A 19-year-old with the masked gunman was killed while two innocent bystanders, a 23-year-old man driving a car nearby and a 55-year-old man, were injured. And in Money News, a new study from Goldman Sachs claims more Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and retirement is slipping further away. This report, which says it surveyed more than 3,600 workers and 1,500 retirees, claims to find that 42% of younger Americans, including Gen Z, Millennials, and Gen X, say they have no money left after covering basic expenses. Among those struggling, nearly three-quarters say saving for retirement feels out of reach. Back in 1997, just 31% of U.S. workers were in this position. Today, this study, according to Goldman Sachs, suggests that could rise to more than half of all Americans by 2033, mainly due to housing and health care costs. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. West Nashville got a crash on the left shoulder, 40 westbound after 46th Avenue, 51st Avenue. Glencliff, a crash, 40 westbound near Spence Lane. On the west end, we've got the right lane blocked by a crash, 440 westbound near Exit 1. In Antioch, a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 24 eastbound near Harding Place. Over here on the South Loop, got a crash, 40 eastbound near 4th Avenue, 2nd Avenue, Exit 210C. And then on the west end, a crash, West End Avenue at Bowling Avenue. And then in Hillwood, off-ramp partially blocked by a crash, 40 westbound to Charlotte Pike. In Pegram, a crash, 40 westbound near McCrory Lane. And in Hermitage, a crash partially blocking the off-ramp, 40 westbound to Old Hickory Boulevard. And in Green Hills, we got police activity blocking the right lane, 440 eastbound near the Woodlawn Drive overpass. I'm Ken Weaver.
U.S. passed. I passed one of the beautiful billboards just today. I forgot where it was, but it was beautiful. It was gorgeous, and it said U.S. passed, and it said anything it takes, and it was flying the beautiful American flags because J.K. and Erica Brister love this country, and they love you to have a pest-free home, and they are endeavoring to do that every single day. They hire good people, and they bring them out to your homes, and these technicians will give you a free home inspection. They aren't going to try to pressure you into doing something you don't want to do, but here's the deal. You're threatened by termites. You're threatened by other bugs. And these bugs bring disease with them into your home. Rodents bring disease with them into your home. You need to eliminate that out of your life with U.S. Pest. They're simply the best when it comes to home protection. Now, I strongly recommend you get monthly protection from U.S. Pest. But if you feel like you've got an infestation that needs dealing with right now, go ahead and make the call. USPest.com is online, USPest.com, or call 590-1260 and tell them that I sent you. For any sort of bug or creepy crawly outdoor, pests like ticks and fleas are in abundance this time of year, and your pets can bring them into the house. Let's not let that happen. Let's get protected from U.S. Pest. Two things. They love America and they hate bugs. U.S. Pest.
Welcome back, folks. Hey, slap your mama. That's a good one too, man. I'm having fun with y'all today. Thank y'all so much. I get it. I understand. There's part of y'all out there that are like, well, we want to talk about the shutdown and all the news headlines. I get that, and I appreciate that. But I also think every now and then we gotta laugh just a little. And y'all have definitely fulfilled that today, and I need to laugh too. I also realized, if anybody happens to be going towards Nolensville around 7:15, I don't have a truck because it's in the shop, and my wife told me she's at the boys' football game. So, just let me know. Football. Yeah, we're moving to wrestling now for middle school football's over. We're doing that now. And
all right, wrestling.
Yeah, man, wrestling. If there is a sport that makes you good at all the other things, is wrestling.
Yes, sir.
And particularly my boys, they're big boys. I should say I've got 2 with a cornerback build and 3 with the lineman build. And I'm telling you, for your big boys, wrestling is the way to go, man. It makes you understand your body, you understand all that other stuff, in terms of leverage, and you should do it. If you want to be good at football, wrestle.
Wrestlers are a different breed, man. I remember my friends in high school that wrestled. You could just be standing there in a group of people just talking, and all of a sudden one of them will just start putting you in a hold.
Yep.
Next thing you know, you're on the ground and you're in the guillotine.
Right, and that's awkward.
It hurts.
Yeah. Those are my friends. It's like, let's play chicken. What do you mean? Like in cars? And like, no, we ride on top. And I'm like, okay, that checks out. You're a wrestler. They eat sticks and rocks. I mean, all kinds of weird stuff. But I mean, you can always tell like a really good wrestler because they have the weirdest looking cauliflower ears that you've ever seen. That's why you got to wear your headgear, guys.
Yes.
So you don't have funky ears. But yeah, man, a good wrestler. Wrestling, in my mind, is the hardest sport. Because
the workouts are
brutal.
Brutal, man.
It is one of the last, and I will say this, and we can argue this. It is one of the last sports that is truly difficult in 2025. Like the workouts and the physicality and what you have to do, they have not really softened wrestling a lot.
No, the 3-man weave. Oh my god!
Like football, yes. Football is unrecognizable. Like most games right now at a high school game, good football program, bad football program, their tackling is off. They're just because they just don't do the stuff, right? They're like, well, we're not going to hit as much. We're not going to be as violent. Wrestling is still extremely violent. So there you go. TB says, good wrestlers also had a wider distance between their eyes than normal men. I'm like, well, maybe. They are not afraid of you, though.
No. There's no fear in a wrestler.
No, none whatsoever. And not even the reasonable good kind.
No.
I learned that, and I've known that my whole life. Jason asked why the Rams in the shop. I got to get an oil change, but one of the challenges is I got a warranty when I bought the truck to make sure that, because it had custom lift and all this other stuff on it, that I didn't have any problems. I didn't want to deal with it. And so there is something about the lift and some of the angles and the way it modifies the truck that the bearings and the bushings wear out faster than they should. And so I'm trying to get that fixed under the warranty, saying, look, I bought the warranty after I had the truck. This is part of it. And they said, well, we could just take the lift off. And I said, well, that's not the truck I bought.
Right.
Like, gee, thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Okay, Jackson, do we have time for the nincompoops at this juncture? Jackson says yes.
Nincompoops in the news.
All right. So I think, was it Ken or Jackson that won yesterday?
Ken was disqualified.
Yep, so is Jackson. Okay, Jackson, lead us.
All right. Woman accused of going on rampage inside Little Caesars after $1 charge for extra sauce. Kentucky cops allege. A woman is accused of destroying equipment at a Little Caesars after becoming irate over a $1 sauce charge, Kentucky police says. The incident happened all the way back in January at a Little Caesars in Louisville, Kentucky, but the 32-year-old woman was not arrested until September 22nd when officers charged her in a separate incident, court records show. The Louisville Metro Police Department said the woman placed a Little Caesars order over the phone, then asked for extra sauce when she picked it up, and then the defendant became angry when she learned extra sauce would cost $1. Police said defendant created a disturbance in the store and began knocking things off the counter, including a custom-made computer stand in the computer register. Police said the woman fled the store after causing more than $1,000 worth of damage. Workers at the pizzeria gave officers the name of the customer, and police confirmed her identity through surveillance footage. According to the court documents, she is now charged with criminal mischief. The woman was taken into custody following a separate instance, which led to a fourth-degree assault charge, according to Louisville police. There had been a warrant issued for her arrest before officers were called to a home September 22nd. Officers said she threw a brick at a man's car window, shattering the glass. The man also accused the woman of putting her hands on the victim and causing him pain internally. She was due in court October 1st for a preliminary hearing.
Good grief.
A lot of anger issues.
All of this over $1?
Well, no, the brick thing, I don't know. I don't know what happened with that, but the sauce was, maybe she was still angry.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
I know what it was, boys. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. How about that for slang?
There you go, Ken.
And she's just going ballistic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like him a little on the crazy side. I mean, gotta be honest. I mean, a married one.
I don't know.
Wild one.
I don't know. If you're beating up a Little Caesars.
Hey, my wife, she wrangles five boys, and she will put you in the wall. Like, literally. I've come in, and she has been, like, had one of them pinned to the floor.
Yeah.
And just like, hey, I need you to listen. And that's how she rolls. So I get it. I mean, I understand. So, Ken, what you got?
All right. This is out of Florida, where a teenager's accused of faking his abduction and then shooting himself while sparking an Amber Alert. The investigation started Friday after urgent messages from 17-year-old Caden Spite prompted an Amber Alert and a large law enforcement response. Authorities said he texted his family claiming he had been shot and abducted. The sheriff's office launched an extensive search using detectives, aviation, field force, and mounted units. By the next day, investigators said there was no evidence Spite had been abducted by men in a van. Instead, they noted he may have left on a black bicycle with camping gear that he had just bought at a Walmart. He was later found safe about 20 miles away, just southwest of Gainesville. The sheriff says, Caden simply rode away while the rest of us were left to think the worst. And my team was working in overdrive to solve this case. To continue the ruse, Caden, who had a handgun with him since the beginning of all of this, chose to shoot himself in the leg, causing a non-life-threatening injury right before he walked out to the roadway where he knew people would see him. The sheriff says there is zero chance Caden's gunshot wound came from any type of assault or assailant. The sheriff did not rule out whether Spite would face charges, saying investigators are still reviewing the evidence. He added that deputies have questions for Spite, but his parents have refused to let him speak with them.
Oh.
Went as far as to shoot himself in the leg.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
that's commitment to the bit.
Yeah. It's art at that point. I'm pretty sure.
Man. You know that sheriff is ticked off.
Yes.
Like, how much did that cost that county?
Oh, I can't imagine. So some of y'all, Chad brought this up on his show, and it was the reason that I was looking up the can you eat your pets? A 61-year-old Florida man faces animal cruelty charges after admitting to eating his pet peacocks following a dispute with a neighbor.
Cameron.
What?
I won with this one on Tuesday.
Yeah, Brother Jackson.
On Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah, Brother Jackson already did it, Brother Cameron.
Good grief. Good grief.
You got to back up?
Y'all got to be banned. Y'all got to be banned from Florida Man. I mean, like, that's the problem here is it's just a gold mine. And I don't. I'm hurt. I mean, I'm really just. There are several inappropriate ones with Florida Man that I can't talk about. So I guess you guys are just going to have to vote.
Maybe we need to start checking Nebraska Man after that story Jackson rolled out yesterday.
That was rough. There you go. You can vote for Ken or Jackson. Will someone please check if Cameron has a pulse? He is so monotone. Great voice, but no passion.
You do got a great voice there, Brother Cameron.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. I mean, so I'll tell you, I've been going early and ending late for several days, so I appreciate you checking on me, but it is an energy drain rather than a lack of passion. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a very passionate man. I give lots of hugs. I don't know what else, but I'm good. I'm going to make it. I've got fall break coming up.
Yes, sir.
And the crew's going to go to the beach. So
yeah,
we are having some fun. I am, ready. You know when you get to that point where you got to do something to just take a break?
Yes.
I have reached that point. I have written and talked and done everything. And now we need to take a real break. So I'm Cameron Smith. We did some nincompoops, but you're not. Come on back.
Legendary football coach Lou Holtz asked a question, or actually said something one time that I think bears repeating. Before people spend money, they ask themselves 3 questions. Can I trust you? Are you committed to excellence? And do you care about me? Friends, it's Matt Murphy, and Eurofix has built its business on answering those 3 questions with a bold YES, yes.
A Pentagon memo about drug cartels. I'll tell you about it at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, Ken Weaver said something to me earlier that several of you have echoed on the Super Talk text line, 615-737-9986. He said I had a calming voice.
Yes.
It's because I'm not angry. And I think that's something that as conservative types and libertarians and folks who do care about public policy and culture and kind of what's going on, I was very impacted at a very early age by the concept of Reagan's happy warrior. Like, it's really good to fight for the culture, fight for the future, fight for principle and what's right. Like, those are good things, but there should be a joy to it. We got to be, we have to be the type of people that do not let anger and outrage overtake us. And so a lot of this space that I occupy and that I engage, you guys know I'm a columnist over at the Tennessean, and I wrote for AL.com before that. It's punditry, right? We're supposed to give our hot takes, and that's cool. I don't mind pushing the issue to start a conversation, but if we don't sort of bridge the gap, right? If we don't bring people back into the fold, we're just going to be talking to a ever diminishing crowd until the last one turns the lights off. And so we want to have a big tent. We need to bring people in who don't think, believe, and feel like we do today, but might agree tomorrow. And I'll give Trump credit for some of that. I know that he seems very divisive if you're on the left, but what's interesting is the Trump-Republican coalition is very broad. It's the broadest that the Republican Party has had in a long time. The ideology in the Republican Party is very broad. You have populists, you have conservatives, you have libertarians, you have all kinds of folks. And I think it's a big deal to just not be angry, to have fun, to enjoy yourself, because we're not on this spinning rock that long, and we need to have fun with it. And so that's the reason for the slang today. This is, it's nostalgia. It's a fun thing to talk about. I pulled up some Southern slang because obviously we've been mentioning a lot of this, and a couple that we missed. Bless your heart. I mean, that's really important. That's a Southern staple. It is much like Roll Tide. So, and hear me out. I know where I am. I understand Roll Tide's fighting words for a lot of folks. But Roll Tide, for an Alabama fan, you say Roll Tide to mean I'm sorry for your loss. You say Roll Tide to say, hey, wasn't that great? You say Roll Tide, like any use case is Roll Tide. Bless your heart is kind of like that, but it's kind of negative. Like, bless your heart, like it sounds like it should be positive, but a lot of times it's like, you're kind of dumb. Like,
yeah, it's sarcastic.
Oh, bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
Now, you know, Mom would say that when I'd skin my knee or something, and she wasn't meaning I was dumb. She was meaning like, are you okay? But most of the time I hear it used now, it's like, you're kind of stupid. And I just want to say it nicely. So I like that one a lot. I reckon. Like, that's that.
Oh, yeah.
Huge intro. We use that all the time. One that I use a lot is that dog won't hunt. That's, hey, the idea or what you're doing is no good and it won't work. In high cotton, that's a good one. And one that I've said in a while, but is a good one too, is Lord willing and the creek don't rise.
Yes, sir.
We got to take a break. We're coming back for one more hour. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes, and got some news about the abortion pill mifepristone. The FDA has just approved a second generic version of the drug. It's reigniting political and legal battles over access to medicated abortion. The approval comes as Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and FDA Commissioner Marty Makary launched a review of mifepristone's safety. And the Trump administration now says the country is in an armed conflict with drug cartels. According to a Pentagon memo sent to Congress today, the administration has officially declared a, quote, non-international armed conflict with cartel groups. It labels them as non-state armed groups and their members as unlawful combatants. And in the briefing to Congress, some members were a little frustrated because they said the Trump administration did not give them exactly which cartel groups that they're referring to. 3 people killed, including the suspect, and another 3 wounded after police say the suspect rammed a car into a crowd and then began stabbing people outside a synagogue in Manchester, UK on this Jewish holiday. He's been identified as Jihad al-Shami, a 35-year-old British citizen of Syrian descent. ABC's Patrick Reevell has more from London.
The attacker basically drove his car towards the synagogue in North Manchester and then got out and began stabbing people. Police tonight are praising the security and some of the worshippers at the synagogue, which was very full at the time because it is Yom Kippur. They say that they stopped the attacker getting inside. Police say they then arrived within 7 minutes and shot dead the attacker.
Following the attack, police arrested 2 men in their 30s and 1 woman in her 60s on suspicion of terrorism offenses, although it is unclear what their relationship is to al-Shami. As many as 750,000 federal workers have spent their first day at home as a result of the budget impasse in Congress. Tomorrow, more votes expected to end it, but Democrats say they won't support the bill unless Affordable Care Act subsidies are extended and Medicaid changes that were included in the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill are rolled back.
It remains to be seen ultimately where this kind of blame game lands. But right now, Democrats I talked to say they do believe they have the momentum, and certainly some acknowledge they are getting pressure from those in their base to demonstrate that they are putting up a fight even while they're in the minority and they don't control the House, they don't control the Senate, and they've got Donald Trump in the White House.
As Jay O'Brien, today lawmakers are not in session due to the Jewish holiday Yom Kippur. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got a crash 40 westbound near Whitebridge Pike, Briley Parkway West. In Hillwood, a crash partially blocking the off-ramp 40 westbound to Charlotte Pike. And on the west end, right lane blocked by a crash 440 westbound near Exit 1. Antioch, stalled vehicle on the left shoulder 24 eastbound near Harding Place. And back on the west end, a crash West End Avenue at Bowling Avenue. Glencliff, 40 westbound near Spence Lane. Then Pegram, a crash 40 westbound near McCrory Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
Well, we're back for the final hour of the Matt Murphy Show, and I want to get to those of you who have been absolutely patient as we knock through a bunch of other stuff. I see Nancy, David, and Robert. I'm going to try to get to y'all real quick. Robert, what's the slang that you were thinking of?
You ever heard of hose pipe?
Yeah, I have.
Yes. Yeah, where I'm from, we call it garden hose, but here in Tennessee, they call it hose pipe.
Yeah, well, I guess it's not really a pipe, right?
Well, that's right.
Well, I appreciate it. I know what you're talking about. I know because I drank. What's wrong with me is I probably drank too much hose water as a kid.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Me too. That was nothing better, you know it?
Yeah, when it's a hot summer day and that water runs cold for a minute. Now some idiot will always pick up that hose and put their mouth on it right before you turn it on, and that water's hot and it's awful.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes,
well,
sir.
Robert,
I appreciate the show. Y'all doing a good job, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, hose pipe. That's a good one. I think another one, 1290 said, to cut off your nose to spite your face. And my mom would say that kind of stuff. And I just really, I understand it now as an adult, but I still don't. Nobody's going to cut off their nose. No one's going to do that. And I think that was her point. Well, nobody's going to do the thing that will get you in trouble. But I was willing to do that. I just didn't want to cut off my nose. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. David, what slang you got?
Hey, I've got a cousin that lives up in Portland. He's actually a Sumner County Sheriff's deputy, but he's always, at the end of a conversation, he's real like country as corn with his accent, but I'll say something like, talk to you later, and then he says, well, toodaloo.
Toodaloo. That's a good one. I've heard that a bunch. Yeah, that's true. Toodaloo. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate the call.
Hey, you're an inspiration to a lot of us, man. Thank you so much for all you do.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. My superpower is I just keep showing up. Okay, Nancy, slang, what you got?
Well, I was prompted to do some research and find out where this actually came from.
Okay.
So, a crepe hanger.
A crepe hanger.
Mm-hmm. I heard this in my early life from northwestern Ohio, living around Lake Erie. And a crepe hanger, by definition, is someone who is in mourning, and they would take black crepe and hang it in front of their window. This term became a slang at about 1920 to 1925. And in our family, there was few family members that were always negative, always pessimistic. It would be like the person that shows up at Thanksgiving, and my mother would say, oh, gosh, Nancy, here comes your Uncle Frank. He's such a crepe hanger.
Okay. I have never heard of that one, so now that I learned something new. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate the call. A couple on the Super Talk text line. Y'all are all over this, 615-737-9986. Cheese is slid off your cracker. Dadgum's a good one. I don't know. One of the ones, speaking of things, I said Chester drawers is one of the things that I just misunderstood and said incorrectly. I got to be honest. A lot of y'all say crepe myrtle incorrect. You know that it's a tree, and it's got the pretty flowers. They're usually red or purple on them. It's crepe myrtle. I used to say grape myrtle, or crate, C-R-A-T-E. Just saying. Who was it that they had a good one down here? Let me scroll through them. Scott said, that guy's got enough money to burn a wet mule. I have actually heard that one. I don't know why you would want to set a mule on fire. It's probably a perfectly good mule. It seems like a thing you probably shouldn't do. We've got our holler in a pickle. Okay. Fiddlesticks. Yep. Lindsay, I can't say that. Guys, we got this is a good one. One taco short of a combo plate. That's I've never used that one. Gully Watch is a good one. It's there. We've Let Sleeping Dogs Lie. We got that one. Fixin' To, got that one. I've heard this one, the devil's beating his wife for like when it's raining or something, like really storming. Is that right? Is that what that means? I don't know. I've heard it, but that's all I don't know. Well, butter my buns and call me a biscuit. I don't. Oh, my goodness. All right, Marsha, what do you got?
I got can't, never, could. My mother used to say that all the time.
Oh.
She'd say can't, never, could.
Oh, that hurts. My dad, same way.
And she used to say about the devil beating his wife all the time. If it was raining and the sun was shining, the devil was beating his wife.
Yeah, okay. Well, then I got it right. I appreciate the call. Thanks, Marsha. What's funny is there's this farmer that I work for. He's passed away a long time ago. One of my kids named after him. And he said, and now everybody in my family says it, can't say if I don't know. And it was, I've actually maintained that little saying. A guy named Bill Prim said it. One of the greatest men I ever knew. Can't say if I don't know. He actually had some real interesting thoughts on government and actually shaped a lot of my perspectives. Tow motor for a forklift. Few sandwiches shy of a picnic. Busier than a one-arm paper hanger. I've heard that one. Like that one a lot. Let's see. Who else we got? Chris, what slang do you have?
This is one I used to hear when I was young. More nervous than a dog passing a peach seed.
More nervous than a dog passing a peach seed. Yeah. And my dogs will eat peaches. I have a peach tree in my yard, and they love those peaches. And yeah. But you know what my dog Dixie, you know what Dixie does? She gets those peach pits, and she brings them, and she chews on them, and then she leaves them all over my house. She hides them in her mouth, brings them in, chews them up, hides them all over the house. So, this is one of those things. But that's a good saying. I appreciate the call, Chris. Jerry, what you got?
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
What in tarnation?
What in tarnation? I don't even know. What does that mean? Where is tarnation?
I'll let y'all figure it out.
Okay. What else you got?
Faster than a mule in a Texas hailstorm.
Yeah, faster than me. I've heard that.
And by the way, Yinzer, I'm a Yankee transplant. You can't control where you're born, only where you wind up.
Yeah. I get that.
And the Yinzer, that's Pittsburgh, man. That's Moon Township, Coriopolis, and Sewickley. That's what the City Slickers call the rednecks in Pittsburgh. Yinzers.
Yeah,
Yinzer Nation is Pittsburgh Steelers fans.
Yeah, that's what Josh told me. He said, "Yeah, this is a big Pittsburgh word." So that's pretty
right.
cool.
Very big.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
It's that southern. Eastern European, Ukrainian, Slovakian. All those people came to the coal mines in Pittsburgh, and they brought a lot of that stuff with them.
Okay. Well, that's really cool to know that. I appreciate it, Jerry. Thank you for the call. So a couple of y'all ask, is the farmer, Prim, the one of Prim's farm in Brentwood. Yeah, it's the same family. His son is still alive. But the farm that he owned was at the corner of Edmondson Pike and Concord Road. And that is where, true story, like my father, we lived in Chenoweth, which is a neighborhood over there. And my dad was like, I'll be danged if my kids are not going to work hard just because they live in a nice place like this. So when I was, I don't know, 11, 12, maybe younger than that, he took me over to Bill Prim's farm and just basically said, here, have this boy. He'll do whatever. And so we pitched hay, we dug stuff, we dug post holes, we carried things around. Anything Mr. Prim needed, we would do. And he was actually an honorary grandparent at my wedding. But yes, that is the same family. I think that land over there was actually owned by his father. But he was an American Airlines mechanic who just started farming. He had a cow to farm. I think it was only about 40 acres right there. But I learned a lot. And I learned that when you're pitching hay, you don't catch the hay in the hay barn. Do not be in that hay loft. If you are in that hay loft, you are going to not be able to breathe. That is a lesson that I wish somebody would have just told me so I didn't have to learn it. But I would tell all of you, if you have a local farmer available and you have a young man who needs something to do other than screens, do what my dad did and just say, hey, he works on a farm now. And Bill Prim became my grandfather's best friend. They hung out, and it was one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. But those are some good times, and it was right there at the corner of Edmondson Pike and Concord Road. I'm going to get to a couple more of y'all. I know we're winding down, but I want to make sure. Harper, what you got? Harper, come on. Slang. Anything? Okay. Maybe not. Okay. Michelle, what are you thinking?
Yes. Hi, I'm Michelle from Clarksville. My cliche is it's a slippery slope.
Slippery slope. I've heard that a bunch. That's what my parents always said about marijuana. It's a slippery slope. You do the marijuana, and before you know it, you're into cocaine. And, that was good enough to keep me out of it.
That's what I call all my deployments. I just retired military, and all my deployments were an absolute slippery slope.
Well, I appreciate your service, and thank you for the call, Michelle.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Okay, got a couple more, y'all. I'm going to get through this. This is your show, what you wanted to talk about. Rich, what you got?
Hey, I got a saying that my dad used to say when we were little. He used to say, boy, you got enough mouth for another set of teeth.
Enough? So say that one more time. You got enough mouth for another set of teeth?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, I like that one. That one's sharp. I have to use that one when I get home. Thanks, Rich.
All right, take care.
I saw another. Sorry, I'm trying to get through all these. 98919 says, I don't agree with your parents about cannabis. Okay. Well, I grew up in this is your brain on drugs era. And so it's not actually a policy position. It's just about those of us who were raised with eggs doing various things representing our brains if drugs were done. That was a pretty aggressive campaign. Let's see what else. I'm reading through these. I'm trying to get this is where there's a will, there's a way, unless you don't have skill. I'm going to box your ears. People used to box people's ears. That used to be an actual thing. I'm glad that we kind of don't do that anymore. Mess people up. Ugh, gross. Busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. Yep, that's a good one. I like that. Nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Yep. So ugly we had to tie a pork chop around their neck to get the dog to play with them. That is hurtful. That is just not very nice. I got time for one more call, and then we got to take a break. Brad, what you got?
Hey there. I work with a gentleman that he's from West Tennessee, and he said a big one for him is when you're asking him a question and he don't know the answer, he'll say, "Well, don't get me lying to you," and then he'll tell you what he thinks is probably the right answer.
Well, don't get me lying to you. Okay. I like it. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. That's one that actually my boys have been saying more and more, and I'm trying to get them off, is the I'm not trying to. They're like, I'm not trying to get in trouble. I'm not trying to, do more work at school. And you're not trying to. Like, this phrase just goes in front of things. And the other one that is just as aggravating as any nervous tick is low key. They just say the phrase low key. Like, low key, I love this dinner. Well, what? Like, low key, I want to go with Bob over to the store. They just add the phrase just because they got to put it in. We got to take a break, and we'll keep rolling. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7. I don't know if you know this, Ken, but we've had a war on drugs going forever. So, I mean, that's just it's something we need to think about if we're going to declare a new one. I mean, we got a lot of wars going on with that stuff, so we should be quite careful there. My friend Alex, who's, I don't know, in the mountains running around with her husband, just doing wild things, probably chasing bears, said, as the crow flies. I can't believe we hadn't had a bunch of folks say as the crow flies. I've heard that my whole life, but I have never noticed whether crows fly particularly straight or not. I mean, I guess they sort of have to, but I mean, vultures circle. I mean, do blue jays take a more circuitous route? I don't know, but it's there. There's another bird one that I probably haven't mentioned, run around like a chicken with its head off. That is a very common Southern saying. Probably 10 of y'all have said the same one. It's raining like a cow pissing on a flat rock. That is very specific. I've incidentally seen that, so I can understand how it connects. But like all y'all heard that, and so that's pretty something. Again, guys, you got to give me ones that I can say. Matternowet hen. That's one. The one. Yep. More nervous than a whore in church. Heard that one a bunch. I mean, guys, these are great. Brian said a fish rots from the head down, and he compared that to the Titans organization. So that was exciting because, well, they're terrible. You won't amount to a hill of beans. I've planted beans, never seen a hill of them. And herding cats. Ray mentioned that. And that's what I feel like I do every night when I go home to my boys. So it's very exciting. Speaking of Bill Prim, who I mentioned, that farmer I work for, my dad had a habit of saying, hey, you need to work for more farmers. I don't think he wanted me to become a farmer. He just wanted me to learn that there were things that required a lot of hard work and getting up early. And so I did some work for, we hunted there too. We hunted dove all the time at the Edmondson Dairy Farm down Concord Road. It's now where the Governor's Club is. So I find that hilarious that I used to fish in that pond. And he had a dairy farm, and that pond was full of cow runoff that would just roll down into the pond. And it was one of the stinkiest areas, but man, it was some good fishing, and it had some big fish. And a couple of y'all have mentioned a specific tree and talked about catawba worms. And there's a tree called the catalpa tree, is how it's said in the South. We call it a catawba tree. And it's got the larva of the monarch butterfly, and those are called catawba worms. And that's what I go fishing with. And so y'all are helping me, have a good time remembering all the fun that I had running around this area. Let's see. If we can defeat Medicare, we can defeat the cartels. Have y'all seen this Trump RX thing? Did anybody pay attention to this, where the government negotiates discounts and then feeds them through to I don't know if it's live yet. I just saw the proposal. Some folks were saying it's communism. Some folks were saying it's great. I don't know. I was just kind of poking around and saw the headline that was going to be a thing. So there we go. 8688 said that Cam Ward had some slang about the Titans too. And yes, he did. And then his coach said he is learning to, weigh his words. And I think his coach is probably not going to have a job very long. So, I guess we'll see. Some of y'all, I think you're making some of these things up. That went over like a fart in church. I don't think that's a thing. I think y'all made that one up. Jeff, slang, what you got?
Yes. For somebody that's very destructive, I've heard it said that he's worse than a bull turned loose in Chinatown. Now I don't know how much Chinatown makes, or if they make any at all. But that's just, I guess, the thought of the simple.
Well,
And I
I've heard it a bull loose in a China shop, which is like fragile things.
Yeah. I've heard both ways, Chinatown and China shop too.
Right.
Another one is I think that helped, that hoped the door. You know, like put oil on the door. The old timers used to say that hoped it. And I guess maybe it's like giving it a prayer. I guess, I don't know.
Well, I like it, Jeff. Thank you for the call. We got to take a break, and then we got about a half hour left. I'm Cameron Smith. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7. Well, looky there. There's another one. We don't know why we have to say it that way. I briefly, yesterday we talked about the 7th congressional race. That one's early voting's about to end, or it did end, and then the election's on the 7th. So, y'all just heard that ad where a PAC called Jody Barrett a liberal D-bag. That's the kind of stuff that drives me insane. And I understand it's an outside group, but Van Epps should have enough fortitude to say, you know what, I don't like that kind of stuff. Even if it is supporting me, we're not going to do the name calling. And that's sad. That's real sad. I mean, I don't know what you guys are going to do over there in that 7th congressional. I think there are some decent guys in it who are running, but it's awful. And that kind of ad, Jody's a lot of things, but he is not a liberal D-bag. I disagree with some of his perspectives and votes, but he's not that, and Matt knows that. And so I think that if you're a candidate that's allowing those kind of folks to do the dirty work for you, you at least need to have the spine to say, that's not the kind of person I am. I don't engage in that kind of garbage. And I understand you can give me every excuse under the book. You're not supposed to have any communication. You can't coordinate with the PAC, but you can actually disavow what they say. That's perfectly permissible. You can stand out there and say, you know what? I'm not allowed to coordinate with a PAC, but I am publicly saying I know that thing that they're saying is not true. I disagree with him on stuff. I want to beat him in this race, but, I'm not going to say things that I'm not going to allow others to say things I know that aren't true. And that shows some character. But, the idea that this is the best we got is just shameful. And I support free speech. You guys know that. I'm a radical free speech guy. The answer to speech you don't like is more speech. But this political campaign stuff, my rule for political campaign stuff would be you just got to disclose who's paying for it, but you can do what you want. The idea that you can't coordinate with this or that, like, okay, wink and nod. I understand that, but I don't even know why we have that rule, because they might as well. And, so fair point. 8003 says Epps being called Tennessee Fauci. Same deal. I mean, some of the stuff that Fauci said and did was really not great. I have no idea why you would say that, that Van Epps is Tennessee Fauci. Like, come on, you're just trying to smear and slander. I mean, we all know that. And so we just need to stop. I mean, this is ridiculous. At 5803 said, did you even listen to the ad? The ad was not calling Jody that. The ad was quoting something that he called Trump. Wrong. You should listen to the ad, because the ad says that about Jody Barrett. It quotes him too, but it does both. Listen to it. That's the deal. And that's a bridge too far for me. If you want to say, hey, he said this, okay, I think it's a little squishy, because Jody, like everyone in the race who's a Republican, is saying, I'm on Team Trump. Ted Cruz. We can go down the list of people who said mean things about Trump. And, I mean, there's a very large list of people Trump said mean things about, and we're still on the same page, right? So I think that that's just a matter of character, and I'm ticked. I don't like that garbage. So, yes, Jody did say that about President Trump years ago. But the idea that this is the way that we need to handle ourselves and carry ourselves and let outside money do the dirty work, no, stop. Like, this is just, I mean, it's not inspiring, and it's just hot garbage. So we'll get back to some of these little more entertaining and more fun. Robert wanted to talk a little slang. What do you have, Robert?
Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Have you ever heard of an old 90s cartoon series called Pirates of Darkwater?
That does not ring a bell for me.
They had a slang word on there I think was supposed to be one of these coverall nice for TV words called Nanji Tut, that every time the characters something they stubbed their toe or they had an issue or whatever, instead of swearing they'd use the word Nanji Tut. And I don't think I ever found out the true meaning of that word.
Nanji Tut. Okay.
Yep.
And
then
go ahead.
And if I can real quick, I've got another second thing for you. That,
Go for it.
About 20 years ago, I moved out to Salt Lake City, Utah, after joining the LDS church and started truck driving out of there. And every time while I was out there and going anywhere out west, people would recognize the southern accent, and they asked me what life was like in Tennessee. And my ultimate response was, look up Jeff Foxworthy.
Look up Jeff Foxworthy. That's what it's like. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for the call very much. Jeff has been really patient. Jeff, what you got?
Well, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yeah, I wanted to get one in before you quit.
Okay.
If you
after
grew
it.
up around hog farming, as I did, growing up in Goodlettsville, Tennessee, you might recognize this word. It's not a dirty word, but there was an old saying. If somebody wasn't, my grandparents used this, everything, if somebody wasn't pulling their weight on the farm or anywhere for that matter, it could apply to our politicians maybe. But the slang is, that man is, and I'll clean it up a little bit from where I originally heard it, but that man is too lazy to yell "suey" if the hogs had a hold of him.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You get it?
I've been around. I do. I've been around one hog farm, and man, that hog farm's rough. I mean, that's tough work. So good on you.
Well, if the hogs would get a little too rambunctious, or you know what I mean, they're kind of overexcited when you were feeding them or whatever, you'd yell "suey" at them.
Yeah,
and that's where that saying comes from.
Yeah, that's the Razorbacks. Woo pig suey.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you for the call. Couple more before we take a break. There's Anonymous on line 3. Okay. Anonymous. This should be interesting. What are we talking slang, or what are we talking about? No? Okay. Anonymous is gone. Missy is not gone, though. Missy?
No, Missy's here.
Yeah, tell me about slang, Missy.
Well, I don't know if you've heard these yet today. My mom always said madder than a wet hen,
Yep, that's a good one.
and then slower than molasses in January,
That is very descriptive. I like that a lot.
and then a good old 80s phrase from back in my day, gag me with a spoon.
Gag me with a spoon. Do you think that was a thing they intentionally did, was try to gag people with spoons?
No, I don't think it was literal.
Oh, well, that's probably
That
good.
would be awful.
Yeah.
That would be awful.
I've actually gagged on a spoon accidentally, but I've never had anyone try to do that to me, because that seemed rough.
I think I'd be fighting them if they tried to do that.
I think that's wise, Missy. Thank you for the call. I really appreciate that. Again, some of these are really funny. I just can't say it. Let's see what else we've got. Bridge Too Far, which I mentioned. Yep, that's a good one. See you in the funny papers. I'll give you something to cry about. Okay. We've got line 3. Al, what's up?
Yeah, my grandparents used to have a whole bunch of trivets hanging on their kitchen wall and that, old adages, like your old sayings you're talking about.
Yep.
One that always stuck in my mind was, if more husbands were self-starters, the wife wouldn't have to be such a crank.
I like that. That's really, really good. Thank you very much. We have got to take a break, but y'all have been an awesome, awesome group of callers and audience today. we'll wind this thing down. This is the Matt Murphy Show. I'm Cameron Smith, and you're listening to Super Talk 99.7. Well, welcome back, and thanks to all of y'all who've made this an awesome show. I have gotten more text messages and texts on the Super Talk text line of you guys saying that you had fun today. And ultimately, that's the goal. We will get back to some more of the meat and potatoes of political commentary and things that are going in the world tomorrow. But it's Friday, so we'll see how it goes. The bottom line is I'm here for you guys. So what you guys want to do is what we end up doing. I've got a game plan that I can run through, but it's not about me. It's about you. And I feel the same way with my columns over at the Tennessean. I want to know what y'all want to read. I want to know what y'all want to talk about. And you guys have done a good job of letting me know. So, for example, I wrote a column that ran, I guess, Wednesday. Yeah, yesterday on the 7th congressional race. And it... y'all read it and you said, hey, you know what? Can you tell folks that we need a little bit more coverage on races like these? Like, you're an opinion columnist. You're telling us what you think about the race and why it's a hot mess. But, you know, maybe could we have some reporters talk to some of these guys, ask them the same questions, do a little bit more so we could make some decisions. That helps me out a lot when I can go to the editors over there and say, hey, here's what folks actually want. So thank you for that. And I think that what we did today is a good reminder that we got to be human beings. Like, we can talk about this stuff. There are right policy answers. There's better policy answers. There's politics. But we have to be decent humans. And we do that when we engage one another, when we have commonality, and we run with it for a little while. And I appreciate all you guys who yesterday when I said, hey, look, I want to find rooms where people don't always agree with me. I'll come talk to you, do that kind of stuff. You know, I have 5 boys and a wild schedule and all kinds of work, but I want to spend time with people because I think that's one of the big things that makes life worth living. And so I appreciate the invitations to lunch and coffee and things like that y'all have extended my way. My email and contact information's out there. And, you know, if I can make it work, I'll try. I can commit that to you. 1733 mentioned my favorite plane of all time, the SR-71 Blackbird. And and when you talk about the skunk crew and Area 51, that, like, you know, this gets the adrenaline flowing when I get to think about all of this kind of stuff. I was the one show we did watch as kids other than football was X-Files. And so any of that kind of stuff that's mystery, the unknown, the truth is out there. I love that kind of stuff. So I will absolutely check that text. Want to read about the Nashville steam engine, the 576 being restored. Okay, cool. I'll check into that. But you guys let me know. Let me know what matters to you. And Jason said, Cameron, could you just yell a little bit? I'm starting to miss Matt. And I'll tell you what, I have been a little tired, and I apologize for that. But I'll do my best to get a little shout for tomorrow, and we can kind of go through it. I really do want to go through a couple things. I want to talk about what's happening to farmers. I'm just sort of scratching my head because these tariff policies from farm input costs, that's like the machinery, fertilizer, all that stuff, has sent costs through the roof. The tariffs have impacted the international market, so it's basically hitting farmers two ways. It's the steel tariffs, aluminum, lumber, getting them on one end, and then making American crops less competitive in markets around the world hits them on the other end. And I do want to talk about that because I think that's kind of crazy to railroad farmers with policy and then act like you're doing them a favor by giving them a bailout. That's lunacy. And I'd love to talk to some farmers, get some of y'all's input, because the truth is a lot of farmers support President Trump. They like a lot of the stuff he does. But this is one area where I can see it. It's pretty clear. I mean, farmers getting hammered by Trump policies. And then now it's, well, don't worry, an announcement's coming on a bailout. One of the things I know about farmers is they're pretty independent. They like not being dependent on everybody else. And so we'll talk about that, talk a little bit of Bill of Rights, and we'll have some fun tomorrow. Thank y'all so much. It's been a great day. This is the Matt Murphy Show. I'm Cameron Smith, and you're listening to Super Talk 99.7.